We're back. Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing great. I hope you're doing great too. Boom! We're having a great time here. Oh my god. My vacation was great. I had a great time. I hope everybody had a great time during the 4th. I am going to be having a great time this year. Welcome, welcome. I hope, like I said, I hope that we can just jump right back into it. So we've got something to do with Highguard. His video came out about 7 days ago. I think I saw it before I left, but I mean, I don't remember all too well. But now we have it here, and we're going to watch it because we love talking about Highguard on this channel. What else we like to talking about is we like talking about Marathon. We've got the Shoe on Head video, which I wasn't able to get to last week because, as far as I recall, I think I was getting heated out of my room. Couldn't really do last Tuesday, but now here we are, and we're getting to it. I know that one of our viewers, Colin, had a suggestion for a video, so we're going to get to that today. And we've got our typical gaming news set up. And yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be doing today. So, without further ado, first, actually, as we are talking about it, I think... What do I think? Oh, well, there it goes. It's just out of my mind. I was going to say something, but I can't remember what I was going to say. Imagine how that works, right? I'm going to remember it halfway through this video. Anyway, let's get right into it. What do we got for us, Mr. Alex? Wait, actually, what is the channel name on this again? Alex Webb. All right. Let's see what Highguard, the 200 million disaster is.
In life, there is a few guarantees. Death, taxes, and each year a big budget game will completely bomb. I mean, within the last few years, we've had...
One thing that I always find really funny, and I actually have been putting a lot of thought into this, like I had kind of this epiphany while I was on vacation, is I'm no longer excited about games coming out, not because like I'm jaded as an adult, but because I've been trained to not enjoy. I've been trained to see in every game that's going to be coming out that it's going to be absolutely like poopy dog water. And that's like got nothing to do with like the individual. Well, I guess it's got a lot to do with the individuals that work on the game. Let's be honest here. But it's just like, I don't want to hate video games. I don't want to hate a new game coming out, but like, man, they really don't endear me in trying to get me to be hyped or enjoy a game.
Complete disasters like Concord shutting down within 2 weeks, Suicide Squad killed Justice League, absolutely destroying Rocksteady's reputation, and let's not forget about 2025's Mind's Eye, a game that was marketed...
Oh my god, that game was terrible. I don't know if anybody else watched it, but Penguin Zero, Charlie, I think he did an entire playthrough of it. I couldn't even watch half it. I was like, this is just such a bad game.
As a GTA killer, only for it to instead be a buggy mess made by one deranged Scottish man.
Yep.
It seems like for every Expedition 33, we get a game like The Day Before. These projects with a lot of hype behind them that ultimately end up being not worth the $50 price tag.
Well, The Day Before was a scam. This is kind of a little bit different because like that was just kind of a big ol' like scam. It really wasn't anything like a big AAA release like we're going to be talking about Highguard, where that game was most certainly not a scam. Like it had development weight behind it. It had a lot of money being put into it. It wasn't just an asset flip. And like the developers didn't cut and run. Like they are different.
Now, with that said, we yet again find ourselves in a very similar situation. However, this time, our story doesn't start with a big game company or a high-profile developer. Rather, this time we begin with just one man. One man named Jeff.
There he is.
Canada.
Geoff Keighley is never going to live this down. I don't think he'll ever live this down for the rest of the time that he's in the games industry. I don't think he deserves to live it down either. I think he kind of made his bed, and now he has to lie in it.
1978, a boy is born. That boy is Jeff. Geoff Keighley, to be more accurate, who grew up with two things: video games and the Oscars. See, Jeff's parents both worked at IMAX and were also both members at the Academy, meaning Jeff grew up seeing just how celebrated movies were, from the glamour of the red carpet to the freshly polished awards. But in seeing all of that, little Jeff had one persistent question. why are there no awards for games? Shoving that question to the back of his mind, as Jeff grew up, he became more and more interested in video games.
Well, it's mostly because, like,
Firstly, using his family
they weren't seen as anything that was artistically elevative,
the first
right?
ever video game awards show broadcast on live TV. Now, considering the vast majority of people watching this video will probably have no idea what Cybermania
He really did just call me out with that.
even is, that tells you just how successful this show was.
You know what this is here?
But on the bright side, they did have William Shatner.
Hello, I'm William Shatner.
Despite
I
the
didn't know
show
that.
being a bit of a failure though,
That's
it
interesting.
only made Jeff more determined to make an awards show on par with the Oscars, but you know, for video games. From this point, Jeff would graduate university
Man, I remember a pre-video game awards, like, life. It was so different back then.
with a business degree
Jesus.
and used it to successfully pitch an idea to GameSpot,
interest is piqued.
where Jeff would basically write deep dive articles on popular games like Metal Gear Solid 2. Pretty quickly, Jeff gained a bunch of new contacts for writing these articles, like somehow gaining
Like,
open access to
I
Valve.
had, like, no idea about, like, this history. Like, I you know, obviously I lived a lot of this in the sense that I was alive for this to be happening, or at least some of it, more probably towards the later bits of it. But I didn't know, like, how in-depth this, I guess, ascension to the Game Awards was. Like, this is an interesting biographical.
And soon he was hired by Spike TV to host his very own show.
I remember Spike TV.
Jeff's career just kept on growing from here.
Oh my
throughout the
God, do I
2000s and early
remember Spike
2010s, If it
TV.
was something to do with gaming, you can bet that Jeff would be a part of it.
Watch, we're going to be talking about X-Play next, I bet.
From interviewing industry titans at E3, working with huge networks like MTV or the Discovery Channel, and even hosting video game launch specials
What did he do with the Discovery Channel? What?
for games like Madden NFL, and perhaps more notably, Halo 3. Although,
There's
in
G4
fairness,
TV, by
Jeff's
the way.
relationship with Halo might be a little awkward after he was involved in a pretty controversial interview. Not for anything he said, but instead for having a rather aggressive sponsorship. This led to Jeff being dubbed the Dorito Pope, by the way. Anyway, despite this cheesy Dorito stain on Jeff's resume, by 2014 he was a figurehead in the gaming industry, having
Jeez.
connections with major companies and making millions of dollars just talking about games.
So now I can kind of understand why he's just in this spot. Like, it's kind of funny, and I say this with as much respect as I can, because obviously he's been around in the industry a lot, and he has done a lot of good things for the gaming industry. But I can kind of see how he, and this is the word that I'm going to use, wormed, close quote, his way into the position that he is in.
However, despite all of the success, there was still something Jeff wanted to do, an idea he'd had since he was a kid, and now he knew it was time to make the video game Oscars. Now, prior to 2014, there was already a video game awards show that had been airing on Spike TV since 2003.
Yeah, it wasn't that
naturally
good,
dubbed the
was
Spike
it?
Video Game Awards. The show
Yeah,
itself had a
it was kind of, from what I recall, it was a little cheesy, and it really did rip off. Well, did it rip off the Oscars? Man, that's so long ago. I can barely remember. I think I might be conflating it with the VGAs. But I know they had like a lot of celebrities on there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought Pamela Anderson fucking showed up for one of them. I'm not sure though.
lot more
That sounds like a
focus on
Spike
raunchy
TV thing to
humor
do.
and bringing in as many big celebrities as possible.
I was hoping you'd be impressed by my girth.
Some of which even hosting the show to varying results.
What the is wrong with you, man?
Unfortunately though, by 2013, the show was suffering from low viewership,
Yeah.
so Spike decided to rebrand it to VGX with a more intimate studio setting and
I thought they moved over to G4 TV. I might be misremembering that because I know G4 TV. We got G4 TV a really long time into its into its tenure. We never really like had that cable package, so to speak. So when we upgraded to that cable package, because we had to have a special package for that, it kind of got a little. That's when it was starting to decline. Let's put it that way. Most of the award shows were like that, including the Nickelodeon one. Yeah, you're not wrong, because I remember the Kids' Choice Awards, and I remember all the other like Nickelodeon award shows pulling in but they obviously Nickelodeon wouldn't have called in Pamela Anderson. That'd be very off-brand for them. Although it would be funny in hindsight 10 years later, but yeah, because I think that would probably be the problem with the award show on Spike TV is they were leaning more into like the haha, this is like a really quote of the time, manly close quote event of the time, and they weren't really doubling down on video games themselves being the star of the show. If I recall correctly, I think that was the reason why I never watched it. I was like, man, I just want to talk about video games. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I was, a young boy and a teenager at one point in time, so I probably did enjoy most of the stuff that weren't video game related. But I wasn't watching it, if I ever watched it, for the video game related
To
content.
get that view count back up.
Plus, it was
which,
before the
let's
white
just say didn't
mainstream
work.
adaptation of the internet.
Yes, I know the difference between
So,
Ms.
like, a lot of
Pac-Man
these
and Ms.
shows
Pac-Man. One of them is his mom.
weren't,
I'm
like,
not sure which.
Yeah, that's not
proliferated
Seeing
on the
writing
internet.
wall, Jeff, who'd been super involved with the previous shows, broke away from Spike and finally decided it was time to bring his vision to life.
Mm-hmm.
Completely self-funding the entire project himself, probably of all the money he made from that Doritos sponsorship.
That's pretty
Jeff
good.
Created,
He
produced, and
self-funded it. I'm pretty sure that if she was on that award show, it was the same year Stripperella debuted on Spike. I think you might be right. Honestly, that sounds kind of like it kind of tracks. And also, that was like a one-season
hosted
show.
his
Who
very
remembers
own
that?
independent award show in late 2014.
We are here
Man.
to present the award for Trending Gamer because, well, we're always scouring the internet for new trends. Isn't that right?
I'm in tremendous pain. I'm in tremendous
I don't
One that
blame
will go
them.
on to become globally recognized as the Game Awards. Obviously,
Hmm.
from this point, the show would grow into what it is now. That being one of, if not the biggest event in the gaming calendar. A celebration of all the incredibly talented people who passionately work in the industry.
And it's become a living meme too.
And an occasion where people get unreasonably mad that their favorite game didn't win Game of the Year.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Anyway, by 2025, the Game Awards were not only seen as an extremely popular award show that pulls in millions of live viewers, but also a huge platform that any studio could use to advertise their latest up-and-coming projects. The only thing is,
Yeah, I could see that. So it's like, obviously they can have a platform to advertise, but maybe I'm hoping that this is the direction that we're going, is like, should a lot of the companies actually advertise their stuff? Because most of it nobody cares about.
though, these ad slots aren't cheap. Just from a quick
You were
Google
not old
search,
enough to
it
be
seems like
watching
prices
that, but
vary
Stan Lee was
depending on
having
two
fun with
major
it.
factors.
Exactly.
The first being, if Jeff likes your game, he may allocate a spot to you for completely free. The other factor all comes down to how long your trailer is,
Mm-hmm.
with a 60-second spot reportedly coming in as a modest $450.
Million. Oh,
$1,000.
thousand,
And if you
okay.
need a slightly longer slot, let's say 3 minutes, well then
I meant to say 1,000. I accidentally started saying million. I'm sorry. I'm still like kind of cooked. I'm still on vacation brain right now.
that will cost you
You're
$1
gonna
million,
get some slips every now and
roughly
again.
about $5,000 per second. Despite these steep prices, studios were absolutely willing to pay Jeff all of this money just to be featured.
Makes
with
complete
arguably
sense,
the
though.
biggest spot on the entire show being the final one
Intergalactic. Hang on, we're gonna go back.
just to be featured, with arguably
This. I'm not saying that I am anticipating or excited. Rather, I'm not excited for a game to fail, because I'm never excited for a game to fail. However, I'm pretty sure it's gonna fail.
the biggest spot on the entire show,
And it's gonna
being
be better for the
final
gaming
one just
industry.
before the Game of the Year is awarded. I mean, in previous years, this spot was reserved for huge announcements like Naughty Dog's brand new sci-fi IP, Monster Hunter Wilds, Final
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy, and even, Keanu Reeves?
Motion capture, baby.
Okay, admittedly, this spot doesn't always go to the best project. I mean, just look at 2019's Fast and Furious game.
Oh,
but at the
Jesus.
very least, it's always something notable.
If I eat ice cream on the left side of my mouth, my
Right. So I think, yeah, we're going to start talking about like the last advertisement slot. I definitely think that High Guard probably would not have been received nearly as poorly if it had not gotten the last advertiser slot. Like the fact that it was the headline quote of the entire night, I think that really pissed a lot of people off, because it's just the collective groan that you could feel from everybody is just, it was massive. Hi, was your trip good? It was in fact amazing. My trip was amazing. I've been thinking about posting some of the pictures that I've taken. Obviously, none of the ones that are like super that has anybody in it, but like just general scenery and stuff like that into the Discord. But I don't know if anybody's like really on fire for that. I don't know if I should or not. I'm just like debating, because I want to share that with everybody, because I think it'd be really awesome, because I had some amazing views. But at the same time, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's right. I'm in uncharted waters. But it was great. I had a great time. I hope you had a great 4th. I know we're kind of running around with our fingers in the air going scoreboard, scoreboard to all our Euro friends over there, or sorry, all our UK friends over there. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. I hope you had a great 4th.
So with that in mind, when the 2025 Game Awards came along, people were intrigued, especially because before the show, Jeff tweeted this out, with the cryptic message actually being coordinates that led to, well, this fucking thing in the middle of the desert.
And that was for the next Larian Studios game, right? If I recall correctly. I don't remember that too horribly well. But what I do remember from that is everybody was just like, oh, okay. Like, I don't remember that much hype.
Speculation on what the statue was teasing ran wild as people were
I'm down to have a look. I'll
I'll
definitely post a picture of my Greece trip next week.
New God of War.
Whoa, hold on. We got a Greece trip next week? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I've always wanted to go to Greece. You gotta get some real nice pictures of some of the old artifacts there. That's gonna be super exciting. Hell yeah.
Elder Scrolls 6, and some people even said
Bloodborne 2? Guys, it's the meme!
It's been like 11 years, man. Just let it go.
Never. I'm never going to let Bloodborne go. Bloodborne is always going to come back. It's one of those things where you will never hear the end of it from anybody who's ever played Bloodborne. By the way, we're going to play through that this October. If I can even wait till October. I've been thinking about busting it out and playing it because I've been getting a lot of content from Bloodborne. If I can figure out how to do that, if I can figure out how to stream, I can figure out how to get my PlayStation on the stupid stream. God damn it.
Than any of these theories, though, what the statue was actually teasing was the reveal of a new Divinity game, which is being developed by
The old
Larian
blood never
Studios,
truly
the
dies.
same studio
Exactly.
that made previous game of the year, which is being developed by
Hang on.
Larian Studios,
Armor
the
sighted.
same studio
All right. Yeah, I'd wear something like
that
that.
made previous game of the year, Baldur's Gate 3. Obviously, this was a pretty big reveal that had a lot of hype behind it, even if the trailer was a little hard to watch.
Okay, listen, I'm still kind of cooked on vacation brain. I wanted to say I wanted to say ancient stuff and stuff like that. Dude, I can't even think right now. I can't even think straight. I'm just coming back into it. You gotta give me a break. You know what I meant.
But interestingly enough, this wasn't the final reveal at that year's Game Awards. Instead, on the same show that had this reveal, a new Star Wars game, a modern remake of Tomb Raider, and rumours of the fabled Half-Life 3.
That's another one, Half-Life 3. That's a big cope. Just like Bloodborne 2, we can cope together.
Jeff took to the stage one final time to announce a brand new IP, made by the same people who made both Titanfall and Apex Legends, a complete industry secret that was deep into development, and Jeff had even played it.
I've played it, and after you see this trailer, I think you're gonna want to as well.
Jeff,
please come back online and say, I want you to react to this entire thing.
Can't handle the suspense. Please, show me the game.
Welcome to Highguard.
It's just the British ancestors awakening. It's okay.
Jeff, what the fuck is this?
I tried.
Once people get their eyes
he must have uploaded it and it must have had copyright music in it.
in the gameplay.
Speaking of, I know that the people on the Discord are aware of this, but for people who are not on the Discord, my 4th of July stream actually didn't just get copyright claimed, it got blocked. And it was the JFK portions of it that were blocked, which I am pretty sure it is not legal for them to copyright claim or copyright what is already publicly accessible, public domain footage of the president, because it was footage of the president during his federal duties. And I'm pretty sure that the JFK library, in addition to it being public domain, owns the rights to it, which they would not copyright claim you on. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, are you really sure that I couldn't do anything? I was on vacation, so I just had it cut out. But it's one of those things where it's just like, damn, are we real right now?
Highguard just looked, well, as for the studio behind Highguard,
bro, Highguard didn't look mid. It actually actively looked awful.
Wildlight Entertainment was an independent studio founded in 2022 by, as Jeff said, veteran developers who had worked on some pretty big games like Apex Legends, Call of Duty, and the insanely underrated Titanfall 2.
By the way, if nobody here, because I know that, what is it? I know that when it came out, I was able to play it when it came out. I know it got remastered, and I don't know if I really have the type of community that would play a game like it, but if you haven't played Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, and to a degree Modern Warfare 3 since it wraps up the trilogy, but Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 stories are actually really good. Surprisingly good for what they are. I can't recommend them enough because they are actually just good.
Having offices in both LA and Seattle, Wildlight Entertainment made it very clear from early on that they had one big
Surprisingly
goal,
enough.
that being to create, in their words, an epic shooter IP. And based on some of the replies at the time, people were pretty optimistic. I mean, Apex in particular is one of the biggest battle royale games ever made, hitting over 25 million players when it released, and still maintaining a player count of over 100,000 to this very day, with its success only being eclipsed by, well, you know. Unfortunately for Wildlight though, as we fast forward to the 2025 Game Awards,
Just because you have the developers that have worked on good games doesn't immediately qualify your game to be a good game. I think like the worst part about it is a lot of people conflated, or rather, I think maybe they used it as a marketing technique is probably a better way of approaching it, that they had developers from these already previously good games so they could borrow upon our preconceived notions that because they have talent from these good games, it's also going to be a good game, which is why I think a lot of people were also a little bit more hostile towards it because it was sold as a game made by good developers, but that might not have necessarily been the case. We don't know who actually, well, we do probably know who worked on it, but I don't know if anybody's ever gone in there and said like, this person did this on Call of Duty and they did this on this. Might have it, but that would take a lot of research.
that optimism had been replaced by, people calling the new game the next Concord. Honestly, I think the way Jeff talked about Highguard before
You're right. It's the second part of the Trilogia Concordia, according to a particular Cockroach King. So we need Marathon to finally go end of service in order to complete the Trilogia Concordia, and I have high hopes for that. Not because I, again, want to see a game fail, but because if these games do fail, and catastrophically so, the gaming hobby and the gaming, like overall gaming sphere will be better for it. And that's why I hold out hope for it.
reveal was the real issue here. My man basically made out to be this industry-changing title that would revolutionize the shooter genre, only for the gameplay to look like someone had generated it through ChatGPT. The gameplay looked uninspired, the character designs were pretty bland,
They were really safe.
nothing was shown besides people shooting things, and worst of all, the trailer made it incredibly unclear as to what kind of game Highguard even was.
I could
People
see
were
that
obviously
too.
confused, and considering Highguard looked like another shooter in an already overcrowded market,
So I do have a little bit of a contrasting opinion on this, right? I definitely think that arena shooters or any type of shooter, whatever Highguard's doing, I think that on paper and in concept, probably could have worked if they trimmed down some of the more not ambitious elements, some of the more generic. There you go, some of the more generic elements of it. If they doubled down on it being an incredibly I would say niche experience, something that's a little bit less broad in appeal, and double down on what made Highguard unique in the sense that they wanted to create a systematic, multivariate, objective-based shooter that would change depending on certain engagements and what's happening throughout the match. I think it could have been better because right now shooters, as far as I'm aware, are kind of either dominated by the hero shooter genre or the Counter-Strike type of games or the extraction shooters, but we're not really talking about extraction shooters because they function a little bit differently. But the objectives from each game are kind of similar in the sense that you've played one domination map, you've played all domination maps, where what they're trying to do is they were trying to make kind of a hyperized or a hybridized variant of domination, capture the flag, and a bunch of other objectives mixed into one match. And I could see that working really well, but they bloated it with all this shit that nobody really wanted. Nobody wants hero shooters anymore. You didn't need to have the hero element to it. Nobody really wanted to play like the wide open map that has nothing in it. Nobody really wanted to do the mining resource management minigame. Just like there's so many different things that you didn't really need to put in there. And if you just doubled down on like the core gameplay elements, probably could have made a unique game. And a game that people wanted to play.
Wasn't ideal. Anyway, with this sudden influx of attention, Wildlight would tweet out thanking Big Jeff and also reaffirming the release date of January 26, 2026, which at the time was less than 2 months away, meaning
There's a free game nobody played.
they'd really need to start pumping out information
That's
on the
a big
game
ouch.
to get rid of those Concord comparisons. So let's just give them like a week to see what they come out with.
1 week later,
Nothing.
Okay, maybe they need another week.
2 weeks later,
Surely
Nothing.
they should have something out any day now.
4 to 6 weeks later.
Nothing.
For reasons that'll become
To be fair, that was probably the right call though. Like they were already facing backlash from not the industry, from the consumer base, like already. They should have just shut up and said nothing. Like this was the correct thing. Like any engagement that you were going to have from that was going to cause more problems for your product down the line. And I think that if people are going, like, obviously they're kind of in a catch-22 if you really sit down and think about it, because if they said anything, they're going to be in trouble. If they don't say anything, people are going to criticize them for not saying anything. And for whatever it is, I think it is a unanimous W, because for them to not say anything, like that was the correct call. And any type of criticism that's coming towards it is just, I would say, looking for a reason to criticize them, which maybe is justifiable or maybe not, but it was the right direction for them to go.
obvious later in the video, after the Game Awards, rather than promoting their brand new game, Wildlight Entertainment instead just disappeared entirely.
Good.
No updates, no trailers,
Good.
no interviews,
Good.
not even so much as a tweet, as Hygar's Twitter went completely radio silent,
Yep.
even with that release date getting progressively closer and closer. This quickly became one of the strangest mysteries within the gaming industry. Like again, Hygar was
I mean, we can kind of go back to the past, the show studio that also did that too and did the right thing and made their game a whole lot better. Not that, Highguard's ever going to get a chance to do that, and I don't think they deserve the chance, but it's neither here nor there. No Man's Sky. After their disastrous launch, what did they do? They shut down, they went radio black for like the longest time. And I think that's the right thing to do, so you can just sit down and focus on what you're doing, minimize the noise. Good call.
given the premiere spot at the Game Awards, promoted as the next big online shooter, and since then, nobody had heard from them. This lack of, well, anything, only fueled speculation as to what the fuck was going on.
It's been a while.
Did they run out of money? Does this game even exist? Was this all a prank by Jeff?
Among Us.
The only thing
I mean,
this
it was.
rampant speculation did do, though,
Jeff really did prank us, by the way.
was just reaffirm people's beliefs that Hyguard was in fact Concord 2. On that note, while everyone was searching for Wildlight, there was still one person actually advertising the game. That being Jeff Keighley.
Was he
tweeted out
really?
promoting
Oh,
Hygar's
no.
launch, which by this point was
Oh,
only
I
4
do
days
remember
away.
that. Oh no, Jeff, please. He's like the Grim Reaper of games. Please stop.
Prompting everyone to ask Jeff,
Jeff, I want you
what the
to
fuck is
be,
going
I want
on?
you to have
It
the
means
same
by now we're
opinion
out
as
of
the
control.
general gaming
Articles were
public.
coming up daily, and everyone was asking the same question. Where is Hyguard? Then, with just 3 days before launch, Hyguard returned. Now, Marketing 101 usually suggests that you advertise your product first before it comes out, to build up interest.
True.
But Wildlight were clearly going with a bold new strategy of releasing a full Hyguard showcase.
I don't know if he's going to talk about this, but they had a lot of success from their previous project, which was Apex Legends, where they just shadow dropped Apex Legends. And a lot of games have been kind of following suit with a lot of shadow drops in general. And I'm not entirely sold on that marketing strategy. I'm not sold on it, because it does make a lot of hype just immediately and you can just go off and play it, which is like kind of cool, kind of maybe not so cool. I'm not sure. But definitely traditional marketing would say like they'd be freaking, like a traditional like marketer would be looking at this and they're just like, what are you doing?
On the same day it launches. I should also mention that this launch wasn't a beta or early access.
Nope, it was full
the
game.
full and final game. So at the very least, you can't say that Wildlight wasn't confident in Highguard. Like, they were certain this was going to blow everyone away. You know who else was confident? Fucking Jeff, who just wouldn't stop tweeting about Highguard.
Poor
Whether that
Jeff.
be GIFs or poorly aged Polygon articles like this one saying Highguard isn't dead on arrival. His most infamous tweet though was definitely this one using a Jurassic Park GIF,
Just take his thumbs away.
which said,
Just
"In
take his
48
thumbs away."
hours, I'll be accepting your apologies." People were pretty quick to point out the context of this GIF, and that this led to, you know, people being eaten by dinosaurs.
So what are hemorrhoids and how do you get rid of them?
At this stage, Jeff was doing so much advertising for the
Honestly,
game.
Jeff
that
should
people
come
started
out and
to suspect
apologize
that he
to
had
us.
some sort of financial investment. A claim that Jeff would completely deny. I mean, he wasn't getting paid to hype up Highguard, he was simply doing it because he liked the game. He liked it so much, in fact.
Like, I'm going to be completely honest and I'm going to be completely fair. You can like whatever you want. I get it. People can like whatever they want. You shouldn't feel ashamed for liking something if somebody's telling you that you shouldn't like it. Like, who cares? You should like whatever you want. And Jeff is free to like whatever he wants to. The problem is you must also recognize that there's going to be a lot of people who don't like it. And in general, when a lot of people are telling you that they don't like it and they don't want it, you shouldn't be trying to tell them that they're going to like it because they've already made up their minds. Just say, oh yeah, well, you might not like it. Well, I do. There you go. Not, you're going to be apologizing to me because now you've thrown the gauntlet down.
That he didn't even need to pay for that reveal at the Game Awards. Yeah, remember how I mentioned earlier that if Jeff likes a project enough, he can't just offer them a spot on the Game Awards for completely free.
Yeah.
Well, that was foreshadowing, because it seems like this is exactly what happened with Highguard.
There it
a
is.
decision that, in retrospect, probably had dire consequences. See, Wildlight's original plan for Highguard was to actually shadow drop it, which makes sense considering that Apex Legends also shadow dropped back in 2019 to great success. Now, would this plan have worked in 2026, when
Who knows?
everyone is sick to death of these kinds of games? Probably not, but that didn't matter because suddenly
I think that might be probably missing the forest for the trees. I think if the game is good and everybody wanted to play the game and everybody did play the game, I don't think it matters what marketing strategy you employ. I think the best marketing strategy that you could ever have is just to have a good game. I know that's revolutionary and that's kind of like gaspy gads, but, you know, who am I to say anything about the gaming industry?
here's Big Jeff offering you a spot at the biggest gaming event of the year for, again, completely free. I guess this could explain the lack of any kind of marketing, because I suppose Wildlight weren't going to need any trailers if the game was just going to shadow drop. But then, when the 26th of January finally rolled around, Wildlight didn't just upload that promised showcase video, they instead uploaded 39 additional videos.
No.
All of which have since been deleted, so you'll have to take my word on
no.
it. Anyway, despite one of the most bizarre
They didn't even just nuke the game, they nuked the channel too.
marketing strategies
Shut it
I have ever
down!
seen, this somehow worked in Highguard's favor, as by this point everyone wanted to play the game out of sheer
Yo,
curiosity,
actually, hold on.
which resulted
Is that stuff lost media now? Like, is Highguard actually considered, like, have lost media now ascribed to it? Literally, like, modern day lost media?
in Highguard launching to a player count of close to 100,000. In what could have been the biggest IQ play of the decade, Wildlight had amassed an insane player count by barely promoting their own game, and all they needed to do was sit back and wait for everyone to start buying these gorgeous skins.
Nope.
However, even with all of this, upon actually installing the game, it didn't take long for people to realize that if you can look past all the memes, controversy, and Jeff tweets, Highguard was simply
Meh.
mid. Basically, Highguard feels like Wildlight just took elements from other successful live service shooters.
I remember watching a bunch of Highguard reviews at the time because, you know, obviously I have my own opinions, but I do like to see what other people's opinions are in general, or maybe even in part, mostly in part if I just don't have the time or the depth to care about something. But I'll go out and seek an alternative opinion. And I remember very specifically Doki Bird trying to say that it was like a mid game in the most polite way that she could. She was like, oh, it could be so much better with this, that, and the other thing. And I had some fun playing it and it's got positive things. But if you could translate that in just like a small roundabout way, it was, man, this game is mid as fuck.
Decided to just throw them into this game and hope for the best, resulting in Highguard being a 3v3 raid shooter with resource gathering, battle royale loot crates, paladin mechanics, COD style gunplay, and one shop ran by a British man.
If I ever see you on the streets, I'm gonna smash your head in, do you know that?
Seriously, by now I've seen
Also, I heard that, or not heard, but what's it called? The 3v3 style was definitely an unforced error. Like, guys, you should have just made it 5v5 to start off with. What were you thinking?
so many different videos on Highguard, and it seems like no one really knows what kind of shooter this game is even
I know what they
trying
were
to
thinking.
be.
They were thinking
Although
with the
what
metrics that
everyone
they
can agree on
collected.
is that none of it works well
And the
together.
metrics
From
were
what
wrong.
I can see, an average game in Highguard consisted of you waiting about half an hour to join a match, then once you finally find enough players, you spend time fortifying your base, and then you run around a map that is way too big to only accommodate 6 people. So instead of actually shooting anything, you just end up mining these crystals.
I have a diamond pick, mining all I know.
The game was just so weirdly tedious, and without something like AI enemies to shoot, it very quickly became an incredibly boring
Yeah, like, what are you
experience.
doing here?
Meaning most people just uninstalled it and went back to scrolling through TikTok.
Da-da-da.
That's not really a joke either, because combining this monotonous gameplay with Highguard being very poorly optimized, something an open beta probably could have fixed.
I think that's the other thing too, is the optimization definitely didn't help it, but I hate the fact that I'm going to say this, but every game comes out unoptimized. Now, I hate it because every game shouldn't come out unoptimized. They should come out in a way that's at least playable for the majority of people. But I don't think the optimization is what really killed it. Definitely, it was a force multiplier on people not liking it. It was one of those things where, okay, the game already is not that great. It's mid, and now I can't play it because my machine doesn't want to play it anyway. Okay, now it becomes even worse and multiplicatively so because of it.
Having way too many different mechanics for its own good, and characters that are about as generic as a slice of toast, by the time Wildlight woke up on day 2 and checked that player count, it had dropped by
was
60%.
awful.
This sharp decline was then followed by the reviews coming in, which were, let's just
Not
say a
good.
mixed bag.
The game is just...
Thoughts on
Yep.
Highguard so far? Oh, Jeff.
Jeff,
Poor
please.
sweet boy. By the 28th, Highguard's player count had dropped to just 19,000.
Oh my god, I saw a video on the guns of Highguard and how they actually like function and stuff. Oh my god, they must have been designed by, how do I put this politely? They must have been designed by somebody who dislikes the concept of guns.
And it had firmly been labelled as a painfully average game, which, yes, can offer some great moments, but ultimately not enough to
They
keep
really
players
lost
interested.
me at the
Don't worry about all
revolver
of this
with
stuff, though,
12
because
shots and a
Wildlight
6-shot
had a plan.
cylinder.
See, on launch day, they released their Year 1 roadmap for Highguard, showing that the next big update would be coming out in February, featuring a new map, character, and game mode. This roadmap was Wildlight's way to guarantee that players would keep coming back for more content, ensuring that Highguard would, at the very least, maintain a steadily growing player base throughout 2020.
The worst part about it is they released this thinking that they had hit the floor of the amount of players that they had. Little did they know the floor could go lower.
26. So when episode 2 dropped, so did the player count. 2 weeks in, and that player count was getting smaller and smaller.
no.
But on the bright side, while Highguard was on life support, it had officially lasted longer than Concord. So,
Hey,
congrats.
achievements.
Although apparently none of this mattered
do you know?
to Wildlight studio head Chad Grainer, who said he cares more about Highguard being loved rather than having a huge player count.
Man, dude, listen. I understand that totally. I get that mentality. That's a great mentality to have. However, you need to have people play it when you have literally multiple hundreds of millions of dollars invested into your project. And it's not because, you want to be greedy, because you want money, and it's also not because you don't love it and you're just doing it as a job. You can do both. It's because if you don't have people show up, you're never going to be able to make something that you love again.
I'm sure this is going to age well. Even with this insane amount of cope, you could tell that Wildlight was going through a bit of a tough time. Mainly for a few reasons, those being that Highguard's website was now down, they were basically throwing out free skins,
Man.
and you know, they fired most of their staff. On the 12th of February,
Yeah, they got
little over
nuked.
a week since their CEO said this, Wildlight Entertainment announced they had laid off the vast majority of their staff, which basically confirmed to a lot of people that it was only a matter of time before
Just remember, everybody, they just laid off a bunch of Bungie staff, the people who were working on Marathon. We still live in a world where it's possible that Marathon gets shut
Highguard
down.
was shut down. This news, along with everything else that had happened, turned any discussion around Highguard into a complete mess. People within the games industry start criticizing gamers for the overtly negative reaction, while gamers defend
Oh, yeah, let's
themselves.
blame
saying
the
that Highguard
gamers!
was, you know, good.
Hell
This
yeah.
wouldn't be happening right now. One former Wildlight dev even spoke out in a very long Twitter post, casting the majority of the blame for Highguard's less than favorable reputation onto content creators.
Yep.
Claiming that
Yep, it's the gamers' fault. It's the people who, play the game who are at fault for telling everybody that they don't like the game. Wow. That bold strategy.
these creators were biased because negative leaning content gets more views. Now, on one
Jesus.
hand, he isn't wrong, and there's definitely a ton of grifters looking for the next thing to get mad at,
Wait.
he isn't wrong, and there's definitely a ton of grifters
The Roach King himself. It's
looking
Voldemort.
for the next thing to get mad at. But on the other hand, what did you expect when you barely advertised a game that nobody wanted in the first place? Like the team clearly thought they had something special
Oh,
with
what a
Highguard,
legendary
so it must
picture.
suck to see the negative reception the game got from the moment it was announced, but you didn't do anything to change that perception. Instead, what you did do was go into hiding for months while the game turned into an even bigger meme. This dev also went on to cast further blame onto people who had bought Highguard, stating that all products are at the whim of the consumers, and the consumers put an absurd amount of effort into slandering Highguard.
The consumers put an absurd amount of effort into slandering your game. Translation, the consumers didn't like the product that they bought.
Surprisingly, this statement didn't go down particularly well,
Yeah.
and the post was quickly deleted along with the dev's entire account. By this point,
Yeah.
any discussion around the game was an absolute dumpster fire. Everyone was screaming at each other while the game continued to stay on life support, and during all of this turmoil, the final bomb dropped. As it's revealed that Wildlight Entertainment had secretly been receiving funding
From Tencent?
Tencent.
Oh, no.
Throughout all of this, Wildlight maintained one thing, that they were a fully funded,
Yeah, fully funded
independent
indie studio.
It was something Jeff even highlighted in that
Certainly.
initial reveal.
The power of independent, self-published studios to push this medium forward is a growing and I think positive theme in
I'm gonna be completely honest about this. I don't give a shit about any of this. Like, I care that Tencent is funding the game and it was undisclosed because I have my issues with Tencent itself, but in them saying that they're an indie studio and they're kind of taking stolen valor quotes from independent studios, it doesn't really bother me. Mostly because, like, I usually approach indie games with a thumb test, where it's like, if it looks and it feels like an indie game, it's an indie game, and if it looks and it feels like a AAA game, it's a AAA game. Now, that doesn't work all the time, but I mean, this game to me never felt like an indie game. No matter what you told me, I was never going to believe that it was an indie game anyway, because of just how grandiose the presentation of it was.
our industry.
But what they had never done was disclose where they had gotten that funding from, until it was revealed that Wildlight had been funded by Timmy, a subsidiary of one of the biggest gaming corporations in the entire world,
Tencent. Yeah.
who basically own like every single successful mobile game and League of Legends. Now, while bigger companies
Oh, I just got
investing in
flashbanged
smaller
by League.
studios isn't unusual, like Tencent has their fingers in multiple
Man, I got flashbanged by League and everything just kind of like came back to me. I'm sitting here in my chair going as all of my League memories are coming
different
back.
pies. What is
Save me.
unusual is that Wildlight seemed to hide this fact as much as possible. Sure, they said they were funded, but they never said where or who gave them that money. Instead, they made themselves out to be this independent success story, similar to games like Expedition 33 and Dispatch. But in reality, they'd been receiving funding from a billion-dollar company since 2023, who somehow some people estimate invested over $200 million into Highguard's development. This connection also caused conspiracy theories to go round that Jeff had actually been commanded by Tencent to promote Highguard. The evidence? The show's advisory board, featuring Tencent's SV.
Now, this is a more important thing, I think, because it does show that, like, there is a connection, or at least from what I can recall, a connection between Tencent and the actual show's running itself. So I could definitely see that being an issue, at least a conflict of interest. Not that anybody's going to care about it, but
Jeff had obviously been paid off,
which they should.
Or, you know, Jeff just really liked the game and made a dumb decision. Anyway, Tencent was clearly wanting Wildlight to deliver a
and we'll probably
game
never
that
know.
would earn them even more money. And for that exact reason, they pulled their funding after seeing the game's abysmal player
Yeah, I
counts.
wonder why.
And here, the fate of both Highguard and Wildlight was all but confirmed. They had lost their investors, fired most of their staff, their reputation was in the mud, and only a month after launching, Highguard's player count had gone from 100,000 to just 600.
Yup.
So it came as no surprise when on March 3rd, the Highguard Twitter account announced that on the 12th of March, only 45 days after
Shut
it
it
launched,
down.
Highguard was finally getting put out of its misery. As of now, it's been a few months since Highguard shut down, and it seems like Wildlight has unfortunately
And they have passed like a fart in the wind. Actually, they've made more of an impact because now people are comparing things to Highguard in the good way.
closed their doors too, as there's been no updates on any of their social media, and they even recently deleted all of the videos on their Highguard YouTube channel.
Man.
Which made this video even harder to edit. As for Jeff, upon this news breaking,
Is their
everyone
YouTube channel still up? Let me see for a second here. Hold. Highguard. I spelled that so wrong. IGN Highguard channel. So you know it'd be at Highguard, right? At Wildlight. At Wildlight Entertainment. I don't think that their channel's still up. Oh, nope. There it is. There we are. They're still up. They still have a channel. As of 7/7/2026, they still have a channel. Let me real quickly get the boom.
Everyone was quick to check in on him and make sure he was doing alright after suffering such a devastating loss.
Yeah, you gotta
And
check
by
on
that,
Jeff.
I mean, he was heavily clowned on. The thing is, while this whole situation is kind of funny, I don't think anyone actually wanted Highguard to be this much of a disaster. I just think while
I think you're right. I think that you are completely right when you say nobody wanted Highguard to be this much of a disaster. 100%. However, I also think in the same breath, everybody would take 10 Highguards right now if it meant in the near to short-term future, we no longer have to deal with any Highguards for the next decade. I think that is totally what everybody would say.
Light was thrusted into a spotlight they absolutely weren't ready for, with a game that ultimately nobody wanted to play, especially after Concord. Regardless of all the controversy, at the very least, Highguard had a team of passionate devs behind it who had worked on the game for years, only to see it die within like 2 months. So I hope they can all land on their feet after
That's
this.
how it
Now, I know
goes.
I've given Jeff Keighley a bit of a
I do not hope that every one of those developers can land on their feet. I hope that the people who are responsible for what happened with Highguard do not land in the industry again. We do not want your games. I don't care if that sounds callous. I'm going to be callous about this because this is my hobby. This is my passion in life. This is what I love about my existence is video games. Don't work in the industry again, please. I'm begging you.
time throughout this entire
the
video.
ones who screwed up
when
the
it comes
game.
to video games, I legitimately don't think there's anyone who cares more about the video game industry than Jeff. I mean, he spent his entire career giving games a platform to be showcased on, and sure, that might not always go well, but without him, video games absolutely would not be taken even half as seriously as
I think the other problem with Jeff is that he doesn't have his finger on the pulse of the games industry. Yeah, he's done a lot for games, and maybe he does have a very big passion for video games, which is great. I don't think that he's tuned into the actual id of the gaming public. Because if he were, he would have known that Highguard would have never succeeded. Just blatantly on its face. It was plain to see that people don't want this game. And I'm sorry if this also sounds harsh, but Jeff, you need to wake the fuck up. People do not want these games, and your opinion is in the minority, not the majority. Which is okay as long as you can admit it. If you can't admit it, then stop presenting. It's time to pass the torch.
They are today. Plus, I think he's learned his lesson from this whole thing. Anyway, with all of that
Good,
being
I
said,
hope he does. I hope he
Highguard
has.
firmly in the past, I'm looking forward to seeing what this year's Game Awards will have in store for us. Oh.
Concord 3!
Oh my.
What a nice, insightful video. Huge video. I don't know why this keeps minimizing. I definitely think that there's a lot of problems with Highguard, or whether we're a lot of problems with him talking about it in the present tense. I should be talking about it in the past tense. I think that, again, definitely it was a big error in judgment on Jeff's part, but I don't think it was an error in judgment in the same sense that he made the choice willingly. I think he just doesn't understand that people don't agree with him anymore. And for a long time, people haven't agreed with him, at least the regular gaming public. And I think he needs to come out of his bubble and actually talk to real gamers and participate with real gamers. Because we don't want these games anymore. We're not going to enjoy it. And if he legitimately thought that people wanted to play the game, man, you're kind of tattling on yourself with that, at least in my opinion. Okay. Let's talk Shoe on Head. I love Shoe on Head. We love Shoe on Head. She's great. She's a great content creator. We're talking Carmelo Anthony. There are a lot of insane things that people have been saying, so we're going to be hearing the insane things that they've been saying. Boom, let's go. Or, there we go.
Wake up, maggot!
Oh.
It's time for your annual
man, that was
race
loud.
war! Oh, you didn't want to be in a race war? Well, too bad. You're in one. Your skin color is
Oh my god, this reminds me of the whitest kids you know. Oh.
your uniform, soldier. Black people on this side, white people on this side, Italians.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out later.
The guy comes up, come on, man, race war. Come on, let's go. Come on, man, race war.
Attention! Which one of you lily lickers mixed the white Monster Energy with the Kool-Aid pineapples?
Oh no.
How many times do I have to tell you? No mixing. Now get suited up, soldier. You're heading into
I
your
actually
first
almost
battle.
spit out my
the
drink
comment
there.
section of a Nick Fuentes Instagram reel. Godspeed. Hello, and welcome to another episode of I am your host, Shoe on Head. You may know me as Timu Boxy, or perhaps the woman who footmogged Hassan Piker.
Oh my god, that video was huge, by the way. Like, it was like a response to Hassan crashing out about something stupid like he always does. Oh, it was funny. It was really funny. And he had nothing to say about it either.
Thank you. Thank you. I know a few of you have come here from that last video, so hello, new friends, and old friends, please say hello to the new friends.
Hello.
Do not scare them away. One of the biggest things that happened when I was gone was the conclusion to the Carmelo Anthony trial. Now, for those of you...
for those of you who don't know, Carmelo Anthony was found guilty of, I think it was murder? Because they wanted to get it down to manslaughter, but it wasn't. And I think he got an incredibly light sentence, and there were people who were very not happy about that. And there were a lot of things that people said.
You who are unaware, for those of you who have no idea what has been going on, don't worry about it, kid. No, but what happened was last year during a Texas high school track meet, Carmelo Anthony, a 19-year-old student, and Austin Metcalf, a 17-year-old student, got into a heated dispute after Carmelo entered Austin's tent, which was like a rivalry.
You shouldn't have been there.
An argument followed, and then allegedly Carmelo said, "Touch me and see what happens." And so Austin shoved him, and Carmelo pulled a knife out, and yeah.
Naturally, that is the response to it. Pull a knife out and stab somebody.
Austin then passed away in his brother's arms. Court
Man,
argued
I cannot
that
imagine
use of
how
force
terrible
with a
and
knife
tragic
was
that is.
completely unjustified, that a single shove did not justify a deadly response. During the trial, jurors listened to witnesses' accounts of the events, reviewed video evidence, and after a few days...
By the way, the body cam is out, and I know a lot of people have been reacting to the body cam.
Jury found Carmelo Anthony guilty, and he was sent
to be more clear, I can't bring myself to watch like a body cam like that. I don't want to watch like the pain of other people's loss and suffering like that. It really gets me. It really gets me in a deep spot, and I really just can't do it. But if you're the type of person who can withstand that type of stuff, I mean, obviously go watch for yourself if you want, but I'll never suggest it.
To 35 years in prison. And everyone accepted that outcome because they understand how the law works and they respect our judges.
35 years in prison. Okay. There are a lot of people who've been saying that that was a light sentence. I am one of the people who believe that that is too light of a sentence. Granted, I do believe in a lot of judicial reform that probably needs to be happen because I think our justice system is too heavily focused on punishment, not enough on rehabilitation. I know, weird take. Probably not the take that you expected from me, but I think that that's in a lot of cases true, and that's why recidivism rates are incredibly high. But in this instance, we're kind of hitting the other side of the parabola, where I think if you're a murderer, you should have harsher punishments imposed upon you because there is no rehabilitation for a lot of crimes like that.
Justice system.
No, don't say his name. He's not the saint that you want. By the way, it's wild that you're allowed to get away with saying something like this. This is not what I would consider to be good in any measure, because if you were to replace the words that you're using with insert any other race here, it's considered incredibly bad. And if you cannot consider it incredibly bad, you can't have a double standard, essentially is what I'm saying. It's either holistically bad in every case or it is not bad in every case. And I don't want to live in a world where in every case it's not bad.
Only good cracker is a dead one.
I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion here.
These kinds of face-to-face,
Man,
emotion-rising, shouting matches really do no good.
In this video, we are going to discuss the insane reactions to the Carmelo
Insane is
Anthony
true.
trial, read some tweets, watch some TikToks, as well as debunk a bunch of misinformation because I am just tired of seeing the same ridiculous regurgitated talking points repeated ad nauseum by hundreds and thousands.
Well, it's because these people don't have a vested interest in telling you the truth. They have a vested interest in getting you angry.
Thousands of people just believing it as gospel, hyping themselves up into a race war. No, I am not kidding. That is how bad it is getting. Growing up, I was always told...
Remember what I always say. You will eventually make your own demons. We're getting close to that point. I'm not telling you because I want to be mean. I'm telling you because I don't want to live in that world, and neither do you.
Not to judge people based on their appearance. That it didn't matter what gender you were, what your sexuality was. It didn't matter if you were short or tall or fat or thin. I was always told that skin color was not important. And it's not. But you know what is important? Your skin's health.
Oh,
so
you got me.
Before we get into the video, let's quickly give a shout out to today's sponsor, Henson Shaving. Have you ever wondered what shaving cream is actually doing to your skin? It's fluffy, it's airy, it looks like it's protecting your skin. But the main ingredient in most of these cans is actually propellant.
That's a lie, I shave
what makes
occasionally.
it foam up. But the foam is mostly just volume, not function. And the thing that matters when you shave is glide, not volume. There's actually a clinical study that measured the skin
All I know is that
irritation
whatever
after shaving,
product I
and it showed
use,
that regular shaving foam
put it on,
actually
boom,
causes
done.
more irritation
Get
than
it all
shaving
shaved
with
off.
water alone. alone.
Never
Not
really
just
thought
slightly
about it.
more, measurably more. Aftershave bombs are also doing something similar. You put
I should
them on,
probably
you get
take
the
more
little
care of
cooling
my skin.
tingle,
I'm gonna be
and you're
completely
like,
honest.
That
I
means
just
it's working.
I'm
Wrong.
like
That tingle
I'm
is just
such a
menthol
guy when it comes to
activating
this type
cold
of stuff. I'm just like,
receptors in your
nope,
skin. It doesn't
don't
actually
care.
reduce
Get it
inflammation
done.
or heal anything. It does nothing. A lot of guys end up treating the feeling of irritation rather than the irritation itself. Shaving is one of the most
Luckily, I don't
aggressive
get that
things
irritated
men do
from
to
any
their
of the
skin
stuff
on a
that I
daily
use,
basis.
so I'm
the
lucky
blade
in that
passes
department.
over the same spot multiple times, stripping off the top layer of your skin, and then your skin is exposed and then loses all its moisture. But men just like rinse off and call it a day. So you got a shaving product that's mostly air, an aftershave that's mostly sensation, and a window between that nobody's addressing. And that's where Henson's 3-step routine comes into play. Step 1, the cleanser. Clears your skin of
Guy had an
debris and
acne
softens
treatment
the
that looked
hair for a
exactly like
smoother
that.
shave, followed by a shaving cream that skips the propellants and reduces the friction
Thankfully,
between
I don't
the
have to
blade
worry
and
about
your
that
skin,
anymore,
the
but
thing a shaving cream is supposed to do. And once you're done
really bringing
shaving,
me back.
their post-shave balm helps hydrate and restore your skin's natural moisture barrier, supporting real recovery instead of just signaling to your silly brain that, ooh, something soothing is happening. So if you want a shaving routine that actually leaves your skin better off and doesn't just feel like it's doing that, check out Henson's 3-step shaving kit. Just head over to hensonshaving.com/June and use code
I got a
June
great story.
at checkout after
I got a
adding
great
your kit
story
to the cart
for
to
how
get
much of
free
a
shipping
a
on
guy
your
I
order.
am, or how
I
much
know
of
a lot
a dude I
men
am.
just ignore
I literally woke
skincare,
up one
and trust
day
me,
like
as someone who was
3
going to
days
be a
ago,
dermatologist,
and
men think they're not
I had a
aging until
hangnail
one
that
day they wake up and
split
they're
on my
dead.
my
Take
cuticle.
care of your skin. This is
Like,
a great start, and your skin
oh,
will
it had
thank
to
you
have
for
been
it.
at
Big
least,
thanks
like,
to Henson for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the
maybe
viewer,
a
for not
millimeter
skipping the
into
ad.
my like finger,
Right.
and it had
Now
been
let's get
bleeding
back
all
to the
night. And I
video.
woke up and I was like, oh, okay.
So
I just
let's
walked
not
out
waste
the
any more
door.
time and get straight into this, shall we? They found him guilty so fast right before Juneteenth. These folks playing in our faces.
Yeah, maybe because it was that there was irrefutable evidence that he was guilty.
Carmelo's only crime was not allowing himself to get beat down by a white man.
No, it was stabbing another human being.
Carmelo will get out of prison. That boy ain't getting out of the grave.
That is a wild thing for you to be saying. Absolutely wild.
If he kept his hands to himself, he'd still be enjoying his white privilege today.
Wilder to say.
White people are not victims of racism. You can't be a victim of a system you created. Hey, 23-year-old
Really?
white guy
Okay.
who can't find a job and still lives with your parents. Did you know you created the entire system we're in right now, and therefore it's totally acceptable to hate you and be racist towards you?
Oh, well, now that you put it that way.
This is the same stupid shit they say to men, like, oh, you created the patriarchy.
Yeah, huh.
Like, who the f are you talking about? Joe Schmo working at Chipotle didn't create shit. The system isn't benefiting white people at all. It's not benefiting anyone except the rich and powerful. The racism equals prejudice plus power bullshit really one-shotted these people.
I went to college during the time that was like the pre time where that phrase hadn't started fully, but was the building blocks getting into it. And, you know, I, having lived through that time, can now realize why I am so jaded when it comes to anything that has to do with like a humanities or some type of degree like that. It is like, oh man, it is taxing to have to deal with these types of people because they don't think. They cannot think for themselves.
Only a black child can be minding their business, get ambushed, bullied, and pushed around and become the aggressor for protecting himself.
Yeah, man, because protecting himself is stabbing somebody.
But he was quite literally not minding his own business. He
Yeah,
was
he
in
wasn't
a
even
rival's
right-
team tent. And
Yeah,
was
he was in a spot where he wasn't supposed to be to begin with.
asked to leave like a dozen times.
And you want to know what? If literally anybody else were sitting down there and like, hey man, you need to leave. You want to know what they would have done? They would have been like, oh, okay.
To say he started escalating
left.
it into a fight and then stabbed someone in the fucking heart. That's not minding your business. Why did they hire that horrible lawyer? Had to be the worst defense in history. Absolutely no reason Carmelo shouldn't have testified. We gotta do better with who we hire to represent us. Plenty of black lawyers in Texas. His family raised.
First of all, like, it shouldn't matter the skin color of the lawyer in order to defend somebody. It should just be whether or not they are or are not a good lawyer. That's kind of insane that you would say that to begin with. Secondarily, I know, or at least I'm pretty sure, that the defense fund that they raised actually could not, via Patreon's rules, go to his defense. Otherwise, they would have pulled the Patreon. So I think that, like, it makes sense what happened there. Just saying. Oh my God, I'm late. It's okay. No worries, Mr. Master Builder. We're welcome to have you along. I'm glad that you're hanging around. I'm glad that you're here. Welcome. I'm back. Good to see you coming around, my friend.
Like $1 million on GoFundMe and then blew it all on a new house and a fucking Cadillac. So then they had to
They were kind of backed into a corner. They couldn't use it on his legal defense, like I said, because of Patreon's terms of service. As far as I am aware.
get a public defender.
Now, I would have definitely changed my approach to that, where instead of buying a new expensive house, I probably would have been like, okay, well, we're going to do this on credit and then funnel this money into our daily expenses, which would have been a way to launder the money. But, you know, it is what it is.
That baby was sentenced to 35 years?
Yeah, it should have been more.
I love the community note. That murderer was sentenced to 35.
Gibson Go allowed it, I believe so. Right, but they used Patreon as far as I am aware, right? I mean, if they used Gibson Go, then like I don't know. Like, I just heard that there was a reason why it was, and it seemed like a reasonable reason for it to happen. So, it was GoFundMe and the rules, and that has rules against it, but they didn't host the fundraiser there. Okay. But still, like, I can understand why it is. Like, I do want to ascribe to the belief that they just blew it on a house, but I think that there's enough reasonability to say that they might not have been able to do it because of the fundraising apparatus. No, they used Gibson Go. Okay. But still, like, regardless, the argument still stands that I think there's a reasonable argument to be made that they might not have actually been able to put it into the legal fund.
5 years. Black
Granted,
people, please carry more than a
I'm willing to be
pocket knife.
wrong.
Get their asses before they can get you. What the hell do you mean?
By the way, what was said just there, that's probably illegal.
Get their asses before they can get you. That's literally what Carmelo did. He got Austin's ass. He killed him. Why the fuck are they acting like Carmelo was the one who died?
Imagine.
35 years on your first offense is over sentencing. Yeah, there has to be a retrial.
No. Life sentencing on your first murder is not over sentencing. It's under sentencing.
This is blatant injustice. First offense. And the offense in question
Murder.
is murder. Your Honor, it was only his first murder. 35 years ago, killing a Nazi got you a Purple Heart, but now that a German American is president, it gets you a life sentence.
Okay, wow, that's another wild take. 35 years ago, dude, 35 years ago was fucking 1992, 93. No, what are you talking about? Like, if you really wanted to make it, that's more like 70 to 80 years ago.
All white people deserve no mercy. Now Austin Metcalf, a 17-year-old,
Jesus Christ, dude.
is a Nazi because he was white. Also, 35 years ago. Does this dude think World War II was in 1991? Black Americans, arm yourselves. This country is officially a terrorist state of white supremacists. You have no reason to abide by or follow any more laws in this country. Law enforcement and these...
If anybody cites this tweet, or if anybody who agrees with this tweet and goes off and does something that is goes and does something that's really bad, this person could be brought up in incitement, and they should.
Politicians are all terrorists. Let it all fall. Time for judgment. Just as I suspected. Schizophrenia. I recommend logging the f*** off. Do these people just
please
live
take
in
their
a
fingers
completely
away.
different reality? A guy gets
Not
put
allowed
in
to touch a
prison
keyboard.
for murder, and they're like, wow, what's the point of even following the law anymore? Having a black son gotta be the tops of fears. I'm going insane. It was the white son that was murdered. Why are they acting like the black son was murdered? Why are you scared of having a black son in this context? Oh, I'm so scared my son will stab someone and go to jail one day. Like, what? What? It's only self-defense when a black kid dies.
What?
Literally, multiple witnesses, including black witnesses, including Carmelo's own friends, said that Carmelo was the aggressor in the situation. Also,
No, but see, they don't care about that. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares about that because it doesn't matter anymore, because everything about this is all just to make sure that people get pissed off.
just in general,
Not about
murder is not
information.
the acceptable punishment for a shove,
Right.
for a push. That's not how that works. 50,000 likes on that bullshit, by the way. 50,000 people saw that and were like, hell yeah. Black kids are the only kids who can't afford to make mistakes without dire consequences. Your Honor, it was a mistake. My client did a little oopsie poopsie.
Oh man, it just ended up inside of him. I don't know how it worked.
A little fucky wucky ooh woo, if you will. Black
Jesus
people are held to a
Christ.
higher standard than every other race. We are expected to be perfect,
I don't think the statistics actually tell that story.
while others are given grace, excuses, and— Hey, stop. Just a reminder that this is all in context of the Carmelo Anthony situation. So the held to a higher standard, in this case, the higher standard of do not stab people. I'm sorry, okay, go on. One mistake by a black person gets used to judge an entire community. Oops, I fell and my knife accidentally stabbed your heart.
Austin fell onto Carmelo's knife,
Wild. There's no way that you're saying this.
trying to attack him.
There's
because the
no
knife
way.
is 3.5 inches. The cut was only 2.
I'm crashing out.
What? There's no way that you actually said that. Oh my god.
Crashing the out. Please let the next one be somewhat rational.
Nope.
Y'all gentlemen
That can't
are
be.
so fucking dumb. Y'all really thought that he was gonna get away with stabbing that kid to death. I can tell a lot of you were raised by hoes. Finally, a normal, sane person. A strong black father tells you early that you can't get away with the same shit whites do. Oh god damn it.
Yeah, okay.
Had me in the first half. When do white people get away with stabbing?
Yeah, color me surprised. I didn't know that white people could get away with stabbing other people. Like, wow, man,
What is this?
I'm stun
Where
locked
do
by
these
some of
people
these
live?
takes.
Earth 2! Culture. When you get called for jury duty, do that shit. Make sure you do your part in serving justice.
This right here actually probably would be enough to get somebody taken off of a jury. I don't think that you can have a tweet like this out in the wild and actually, if they know that you made this tweet, actually be able to serve on a jury, because it shows that you're already biased. I mean, you might be able to serve on some juries, but you definitely, you'd probably be disqualified in a lot of instances.
Every black defendant
You're pretty sure that was a line in the musical Chicago? He ran into my knife, 10 times. I think you're right. Now that I'm thinking about
in
it.
every court everywhere is Carmelo
Good
Anthony.
reference.
Every black defendant in every court everywhere is Carmelo Anthony. Every black defendant in every court case everywhere is a murderer. Are you sure that's what you want to go with? I love how
I mean, yeah, probably that's exactly what they want to go with. They probably wanted to say that because they probably have no idea what they're saying.
it's basically like, go do jury duty so you can go blindly support any black person regardless of what they did. What the I don't support every white person. Some of you are dumb. What's wild is this wasn't even like a cop kills black guy thing where there might be some debate about
Yeah, I've never seen
police
Chicago Nova.
brutality and over
I
policing
know
and
of
things
it,
like
I've never
that.
seen
No.
it.
This was just straight up a black kid.
I know,
stabbed a
shock
white
and
kid,
awe.
and they're losing their minds because he's going to prison over it. Fascinating.
Carmelo Anthony had been white, not only would he have not been convicted, there'd have never been charges.
You are very wrong about this.
Only reason Carmelo Anthony was
You are
convicted
very wrong,
was 'cause we are
sir.
a broken fucking bigoted country,
Yeah, okay.
and Carmelo Anthony was black.
Wow, thanks for the input, gay Colonel Sanders. I fucking hate the Yellowstone hicklib bit. Oh, I'm a big tough country cowboy. Y'all better not
I mean,
say
everybody can see through it. It's just like you just see them start to say something. You're like, yeah, okay. Wild take.
around here. Yeehaw! Wow, just freaking wow. Disgusting.
Was it you disagree with Shu on that? A lot of them are dumb. I think I follow you. Yeah, a lot of them are dumb. Chicago is
This
a classic.
is not justice. This is
Oh,
trying
you
to
saw
make
it
an
live?
example.
Awesome.
Dear white people, don't let this verdict fool you. You'll still get fucked up playing the Austin games. Don't let this verdict of a
Imagine, don't let this verdict fool you. You're still going to get stabbed. Okay, dude, really? Is that really what you wanted to say? Do you really want to have that out in the wild?
guy who stabs someone fool you. You're still gonna get stabbed.
Right?
What? Strong suspicion that a lot of pro Carmelo stuff I see here is some psyop. Bro, This is what I tried to tell myself for like 6 years about the online left. It's all a CIA psyop from the billionaires to make leftism look as unappealing as possible to the working class.
I mean, they could just be that dumb.
Bro. Of course an all-white jury found a black boy guilty for defending himself. F*** you racist white pieces of shit.
Oh,
You
okay.
racist white pieces of shit. That sounds extremely racist. Black people can't be racist, stupid hoe.
Right, okay, uh-huh.
It was not an all-white jury. There were Asian people, there were Hispanic people, and
Sure.
the black people, they did ask to do jury duty in this case, turned it down because they admitted they would be
I mean, all we gotta do is look to you know what, there are some films in Hollywood written by some very famous African-American gentlemen. And if you watched them today, you would realize how wrong that statement actually is.
too biased. Like they literally
Because they
said
were-
they would
they were
just
comedy
vote
films,
not
they were very
guilty
funny.
because Carmelo is black. On one hand, I appreciate the honesty. On the other hand, what the f***?
If they say, can you be fair? Don't say, no, I'm not finna put a black man in jail. Don't say that. Don't say, I hate white people.
So you're telling them to perjure themselves. Great.
And I don't care.
Also, what are you trying to say by this? Like, you're saying that, like, you're legitimizing the viewpoint of what you're telling them to lie about. Like, take 5 seconds to sit down and actually think about the logic of what you are trying to put out there in the world. Really?
He did. Don't do
Wild.
that. That's what people were doing in this case. Okay. And then everybody's like in an uproar because there's no black people on the jury when damn near half of the black people who could have been on the jury canceled themselves out. You know? Don't do that. Y'all be regular.
Overruled.
Just be regular.
Oh, God.
That's right. Get in there and lie to the court so you can
Yep.
free a person because he murdered a white guy. Incredible stuff. Also,
Yep,
I like
incredible.
how they said, just be regular. Just be regular. Just get on the jury so you
Implying
can free
that
the
they know
murderer,
they're
then
not?
return
Huh.
to acting irregular. This case is really affecting me, making me want to go to law school and fight for my people. I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Okay.
Your people being murderers? Is that what you're talking about? Murderers? Your people being murderers? Also, if by some miracle you happen to get into law school, you'll be disappointed to find out that intentionally stabbing someone and killing them is in fact murder, regardless of what your skin color is.
Exactly. And also, it's like whether or not the jury themselves, since it's a trial by jury, say that it is or not.
And there were some people coming at me like, oh, I bet you'll defend Chud the Builder. And like, first of all, who the f*** is Chud the Builder?
Exactly,
This is
who
how
is
I
that?
know I'm getting old. They keep making these random fucking streamers in a vat overnight and then like releasing them. Did you hear about Pee-Pee Boy 57? Like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I don't know who that is. If Chud the Builder killed someone, or in this case, attempted to kill someone,
I've never heard
then he
about
should
that
face
person,
consequences
so-
for that. Yes.
Who knows?
Okay, your turn. Should Carmelo Anthony face consequences? No.
I mean, simple phrase. Don't go stabbing people. Simple. It's very, the standard is applicable to everybody.
Oh, that's weird. Looks like only one of us is the hypocrite
Wow,
here.
weird.
See, I'm not like you. I have a functioning brain and an IQ of probably maybe over 100. I can look at things on a case-by-case basis and not blindly
True.
support or attack something. Like a mindless drone. Let's go see what they're saying over on Blue Sky,
No,
shall we?
let's not. Please
Fellow
don't bring
white
it up.
people. Never mind.
Yeah, please move on.
Never mind. I'm done.
We're
Bye.
about to hear the wildest shit that we've ever heard.
Stay out of black people's mentions about Carmelo Anthony. We are the reason not one black juror was seated. We are the reason that an appeal filed on those grounds will surely fail. We are the reason.
Are you trying to tell me that I should be saying this? Like, that's very strange, very, very weird of you.
Jim Crow is once again law of the land. Oh my god! What has this country come to when a man can't freely murder another man in cold blood and get away with it? Literally Jim Crow! Yeah, white people cannot be trusted after this trial with Carmelo Anthony.
Okay.
Honestly, that 35-year sentence...
Actually, this is exhausting. This is so exhausting to hear that. No wonder normal people just are done with this.
coming down on the teenager Carmelo Anthony felt like a proxy for a lynching.
Okay.
Carmelo Anthony defended himself against two white supremacists. Now that black people stand up for the
Now the twins are white supremacists because they
themselves,
what?
white fragility is taking over. They simply can't handle it. He saved himself
Okay.
from being lynched, and now he has to spend decades in prison. F***ing
Citation needed?
Racist country. Huh? He was being lynched? Yes. Do these people live in the Netflix adaptation version of reality or something? What is going on? Stabby, jail. No Stabby, no jail. The only reason Carmelo was convicted is because he was black. If this was a white boy, there would never be
I'm honestly convinced that this is a bot. This has to be a bot.
I decree that the people who was involved with this case will begin to reap the unjust decision upon their own head
this is a bot. This has to be a bot, right?
to 1,000 generation.
I mean, there's no way that
All
this
you
is real.
bigoted racist people. An all-white jury. Of course Carmelo Anthony would be convicted. Not an all-white jury. Yes, an all-white jury. Stop trying to make excuses for racism. No, not an all-white jury. Who are they trying to convince? Other people
They're not. They're just trying to make people angry.
or themselves?
'Cause they know most
Anyone
people aren't
defending
going to
Carmelo Anthony knows
check
that
it.
they're not defending him in good faith. Carmelo is obviously guilty of a murder that he intentionally instigated. Defending murders like this only hurts the black community. We need to hold
Thank God. Oh my God. There is somebody who actually has a sense about
ourselves
them.
accountable and hold ourselves to a higher standard. Oh my God, a normal person on Blue Sky. Bro, what are you doing? Get out of there.
Right? Actually, no. Like, you need to stay on Blue Sky. You need to try to moderate as many people as you can. You're doing the Lord's work. Please continue.
Go, run! An all-white jury in Texas convicted Carmelo Anthony of murder. Proof that the U.S. never ended the practice of lynching. They let the courts do it instead. You don't have to support what Carmelo Anthony did to recognize the problem with sentencing a child to spend 35 years in prison.
Not a child. He's an adult. He is 19 years old. And calling somebody who is above the age of 18 a child, if you really want to go down that road, okay, let's take away the votes from everybody who are in any way that you would consider to be, quote, a child, close quote. I will support that. I will support taking away votes from people that you think aren't responsible to be an adult. Sure.
Based off of the deliberations.
You don't want to go down that
jury.
street.
Said it again, award! Said it again, award! All-white jury! All-white jury! It's time to play Horseshoe Theory! Contestant number 1. Here is the tweet. Stop sending your kids to these race schools.
Oh, stop sending your kids to these black schools. Definitely a white supremacist.
Oh, I'm sorry. The tweet is stop sending your kids to these white schools. And it came from
It's wild that you can say that, by the way.
the account Dapper Domo, who is black. You know what that means? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Into the pit! Stop bringing non-black people into black spaces. Teach your kids to defend themselves by any means possible.
I cannot believe that we've made it to a point where people can say this just openly out in the open, and it's still being lauded by other people. But this is just insane to me. It's been insane to me
black spaces
because
as
I remember
much as possible. Keep your black
I remember a time where any type of statement like this, any type of like people saying anything about this, whatever, would just be considered crazy. To be fair, Carmelo was 17 at the time of the murder, but his trial and sentencing when he was 19, yeah, he was probably tried as an adult, right? Because 17 at the end of high school, sure, you can make an argument that he was a minor at the time, but he's still an adult. And usually you're tried as an adult for murder, especially if you're in like the 15 plus range. So it makes sense. It does, legally speaking, at least. But I remember a time where any statement like this, people would look at you and be like, you are insane. What are you saying?
children away from these devils.
If we had segregation still, none of this would have happened.
Okay.
We wouldn't have had no interactions with any white boy.
Wait, are you trying to actually make a pro-segregation argument? That's wild.
Because we would have been in an all-black school.
We are going to reverse engineer segregation, aren't we?
That's wild. That's absolutely wild. Oh my God, I cannot believe that you would argue for that. What are you saying? No, come back. You can't go that direction.
But wokely. We don't want those evil white people drinking out of the same water fountain as us, am I right? Honestly, my honest, real opinion about this, my hot take of the video, everybody, here it comes. Lukewarm, microwaved, 4-day-old mac and cheese take, here it comes. If they want to go make their own, like, all-black schools, all-black towns, they should be allowed to. Go for it. Black people
Okay.
want to go create Wakanda? They should be
Interesting.
able to. But white people should be allowed to create Agartha. If people want to willingly segregate themselves...
I can agree with that on principle, but in practice, I can't agree with that because I think that just leads to a lot worse situations down the line, especially in like disparity between like quality of living, standard of living. And I think that, we all share the same country. We should all be able to share the same spaces. I don't think that you should be allowed to exclude somebody based on immutable characteristics as just in general that we have. Obviously, businesses can refuse services to certain types of characteristics, but generally speaking, the immutable ones like age, sex, and color of your skin, you can't do that. I think that, I think that would just be leading to a place where it'd be so bad. I agree. I just meant that there's room for a decision on whether or not one should be charged a legal minor or as an adult. Calling him a child wasn't wholly incorrect, but if we're looking at the age of the crime, no, sure, it wasn't, but the sentimentality ascribed to it is what I was more or less arguing against. Because it wouldn't have mattered what his age was, they would have still probably called him a child up into, like, I would say probably in like his mid-20s, maybe even close to his 30s.
They should be allowed to go ahead and do that. Deadass, who cares? Everyone else can live in a desegregated society. They can go have their ethnostates. But there's only one side that will not be able to do that. I always wondered though, let's say they do make a white ethnostate. What counts as white? Because 100 years ago,
Sure.
I would not have counted as white. I'm Ellis Island Mystery Meat, you know this. Is there like a one drop rule? Do they like whip out the eye chart at the gate and they're like, yes, A10s, you may enter. Is Brittany Venti allowed in the white?
For the purposes of clarifications for everybody who doesn't understand that this is a joke.
White ethnostate? Honestly, she's like an honorary Aryan at this point. She white mogs me. Anyway, we are getting distracted. Where were we?
Oh, yes.
Hell.
Yeah.
We were in hell. I'm black. I haven't stabbed anyone in the chest after being asked to leave a tent. I'm not in prison. I'm free. It's not hard to not commit a crime.
Wow, imagine.
Listen, I appreciate the sentiment
Crazy.
here, but how did we get to a point where this is like a breath of fresh air? Let's check the replies. Hopefully people are agreeing.
Nope, people
Shut
are not
your
going to
hoe
be,
ass
yep.
up. Emmett Till didn't commit a crime either. What happened to him? You're not black. You're not black. You're a boy, you ain't black.
Wow. Incredible that you would
You may be black,
say that.
but you ain't black. Yes, because being black is supporting all black
Holy
people
shit.
everywhere regardless of what they have done. All the normal black people are just called like pick-me's.
We really need to stop with like identitarian movements. We really do. It has done a terrible amount of damage to just people's psyches in general.
They're called pick-me's for having a brain and not going along with this race grievance bullshit. Every time like they speak out about this, they're just called the C word, you know what I mean? The term for this animal. Is that a slur?
The hero that Cartman was in South Park.
Like, I know what that's like to a degree. Granted, it's over me making fun of like women on TikTok, but like I know what it's like watching people in your community act like fucking morons. I feel you, my brothers. Oh my god, editor. Edit that out, edit that out. By the way, if you want an uncensored, uncucked version of this video and all the videos a day early, sign up to be a member on my Patreon. Link down below. All Patreon members get the uncensored, uncucked version. You can hear me say,
Go support her if you can.
Anyway, let's get back to the video. Oh my god.
This is a racist ass country.
Uh-huh.
We're in a racist ass state.
You think that if it were a racist country, you'd be able to sit here saying that? Like, legitimate question. Do you think that if it were like that, the so-called racists who are in power and systemically oppress you would be putting a camera in your face, would be allowing you to organize and say stuff like that in front of a court? Because, as a student of history, and historically, I don't think that they've allowed that. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe they're doing this weird, like, permissive racism. I don't know, though.
This is a racist ass court.
Uh-huh.
There ain't nothing else to talk about.
Sure.
First of all, I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I was staring at her titties the whole time.
Oh,
Those are giant titties.
Those are
just left the courthouse,
the
and
hell?
any white person can get it for real. I don't give a fuck. Fuck it.
Okay, again, I believe that if you really wanted, if you really wanted to look at this, this is a threat. You can't say that. This actually probably could be taken to court. You might catch a charge from it. Don't say stuff like this. It's not good for yourself, and it's not good for society.
Dig Austin Metcalf up and stab his ass again. Apparently, a bunch of people on TikTok are doing the Austin Bop, where they dance to a song made about Austin Metcalf's murder while...
That's insane, by the way. It is insane that we also have become... What was it? There was like... Was it an article or an essay or something like that? But somebody was talking about assassination culture or something like that. Culture that is, you know, made around the demanding of blood from those that you have othered from your community. And, you know, I've said it a lot. I'll say it again. I don't want to live in that society. I really don't want to live in that society. And you really don't want to live in that society either. Because eventually one side's going to win. And I don't want to have that on the cultural conscious.
Reenacting the stabbing.
Austin Bob, knife had blood on the tip when he dropped. How the fuck you gonna stop me? This
is ridiculous.
They were also making AI photos of themselves pissing on
ridiculous.
Austin's grave. You know, I was always told not to judge people by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And boy, am I judging these people by the content of their character. What the f***? These people are free.
The problem is you are pushing the normal person in the opposite direction of not judging you by the content of your character.
Martin Luther King Jr. would be rolling in his grave looking at all this.
Well, we just listened to his I Have a Dream speech. I'm glad we mentioned this. He would be turning so hard in his grave right now, you could generate enough power to sustain the next 50 generations.
Carmelo Anthony, a black teenager, has been sentenced to 35 years in prison after being convicted by a jury with no black jurors. Oh, God, here we go again.
Isn't this person a fucking senator?
And no black jurors. Who is this moron? Who is this idiot? Oh!
Yep.
Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter.
Oh, never mind. No, I didn't even notice. I thought that person was a senator because I know a senator was popping off about it too or something like that. But Bernie's, yeah, okay. I'm sure that your father would very much endorse what you're saying.
I'm done. It's been a good 12 years, but
and you want to know how I know he would totally endorse what you're saying is because he literally has an entire body of speeches and works that have been dedicated to him in his own, specifically named after him, I believe, library that does show everything that he fought for so hard. And why, of course, he did not join with Malcolm X or the Black Panthers, specifically because he did not endorse violent rhetoric. Isn't it surprising how much he most certainly would have agreed with her?
Done. Channel's done. Video's over. This officially broke me. I'm done. Go watch Moist Critical. Go watch Asmongold.
Hell yeah.
And right off the bat, man, free Carmelo.
Okay, man.
I don't give a fuck about no white lives. That cracker, we smoking on that Austin Pat. I don't care.
One of these days, you're going to wake up and it's going to be okay to say stuff about stuff like this about you. You don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live in that world. Nobody wants to live in that world
anymore, because it ain't no good in this shit. It ain't nothing good that's in this shit. But they trying to lay the law down. All that shit. Y'all got to give it up. Y'all gotta give it up.
Like, I don't care anymore because it ain't no good in that shit. It ain't nothing good.
Yeah, I couldn't understand what he was saying either. Point understood.
That's in this shit, but they try to lay the law down up that shit. Y'all gotta give it up. Y'all gotta give it up.
Yeah, preach.
Beautifully said. Thank you, sir.
There isn't a black American on earth that is surprised by what just happened to Carmelo.
We got that 60s, was it civil rights, Black Panther LARP going on?
Carmelo Anthony. Not one black face in that jury box, not one peer, not one person who has ever navigated this country in melanated skin. And if you think that doesn't matter, then you haven't been paying attention to the last 400 years of American history because you don't want to.
Oh, I think I've been paying attention to it very, very heavily. It's almost like I studied it for a really long time.
This is not new. This is the system working exactly as it was designed.
First of all, the Black Panther LARP is cringe. It's gotta go.
Thank you,
This is
Shu.
the 1960s. You aren't protesting segregation. You're making a fucking TikTok video, okay? Second of all, this is the system working exactly how it was designed. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. A murderer went to jail.
Yeah, I'd hope. When you kill someone, you go to jail. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Am I missing
Thank you. Oh
something?
my
It was
god, with
actually
the great minds must think fucking alike. Holy shit. Exactly.
a refreshing change that the system was working for once. I'm tired of waking up to headlines like, man who raped corpse on subway gets 5 years in jail.
Oh my god, this guy shouldn't get 5 years in jail. If this is real, this guy should be institutionalized for the rest of his life.
Like, I'm not kidding. That was like a real headline.
Holy
I saw the other
shit,
day.
dude. What the fuck?
I'ma say it since nobody else can say it.
No, don't say it. If you gotta start off by saying, I'm gonna say this because nobody else is gonna say it, shut the phone off, set it down, keep it to yourself.
Austin, glad your ass dead.
Uh-huh.
Fuck his family.
He's got crazy eyes going. You see those crazy eyes?
I hope they get this message to have a up day in here, Austin. I hope you over there burning up, bitch.
I'm so proud of y'all for
I'm sure that you would be very happy when people say this about you or a loved one.
kicking that white boy.
Uh-huh.
See, they not used to this happening to them, y'all.
Again, you want to speed run people having the opposite reaction to you? This is where you start doing it. I'm begging you, please stop. For your own good, for everybody's good. You do not want to live in the society that you're going to create with this.
My only problem is it should happen more. Can we please pick a day where we just f***ing white people up? Matter of fact, I wish I knew where the little white boy grave was so I can go spit on that bitch.
Man, this is insane.
What the f***?
I think that guy got arrested, by the way. I think he actually did get arrested. I'm not sure, though.
Are any of these videos
I know
still
somebody
up?
did get arrested for
There were so many
this.
of these videos. Are these people like CIA psyops? I'm doing it again.
I mean, they could be.
No. This got so bad that people were actually going out and assaulting white people to get revenge. Obviously,
Right.
I can't show these videos, but there were multiple incidences of this.
Under the jail. They need to crack down on this so hard. The book shouldn't even have a moment to sit on the floor as it's being thrown from judge to judge at the perpetrators of this violence. It should be just completely airborne 100% of the time, hitting them just boom, 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 boom. You cannot abate this.
These people live in a delusional, alternate reality, and they're becoming radicalized to take revenge for shit that isn't even f***ing happening. But like every other f***ing week, I have to read another stupid New York Times article about how like 20-year-old white boys are being radicalized
Right.
into the alt-right because they watch Jordan Peterson or some shit. Like, you. And like people have been so brainwashed to believe that they're racist because they post
Sometimes
like,
it's more
edgy-
comforting to think every wildly insane take is just a psyop. You are not wrong about that. It is definitely one of those things where you can offload a lot of like, I guess probably stress is probably the best way of putting it, of saying, oh yeah, these people are just like this because they're actually just a psyop. No, sometimes people are both this dumb or B, this violent, and it is a terrifying realization.
Memes. No, you're not f***ing racist with your 4chan memes. These people are racists. You're like a level 1, maybe level 2 racist. These are like level 9 racists. You have no idea what racism is. I've seen your friend groups. Racist friend groups do not care what race you are as long as you are also racist. These people are significantly more racist than you will ever be. Hell, even the KKK, level 10 racists, wore hoods to conceal their identity.
Yep.
These people are out here posting this shit.
Just with their full government ID.
Government name and face.
There it is, for government face.
I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more.
I deadass got to look at my sweet innocent son one day and explain to him that people hate us simply because we were born black. What am I
Imagine.
supposed to tell my son? I don't f***ing know. Not to kill people? Like, okay, sorry. I don't know what it's like to be black, okay? I don't know. Maybe it's a completely different experience that I will never understand. But in this case, nobody is hating Carmelo because he is black.
Exactly. They hate him because he stabbed somebody unprovoked. Wow. Novel concept.
They are hating Carmelo because he killed someone. I basically said this on Twitter, and some liberal account was like, remember when Shu was a leftist? Oh yeah.
Shu was never a leftist. Shu had a lot of opinions that were left of center, but she was never a leftist.
Yes, the famous leftist policy being pro-murder. I remember back when Shu on Head was pro-murder. Silly me, how could I fall so far?
Like she was within the Overton window of what I would consider to be probably the extreme end of, Democrat policy. But I'm positive that we could have sat down and had a conversation, had a substantive conversation that didn't devolve into her calling me a Nazi and me calling her a communist, because she never has been.
Leftism isn't about
let me rephrase this. She never has been a full-on fledged communist.
Inequality or workers' rights, no. It's about letting black people stab white people. Clearly. To be completely honest, I have seen what being a good leftist is to you people, and with all due respect, you fucking no thank you.
We also know now that yes, Carmelo Anthony may have had a tool in his backpack that no, he shouldn't have brought it to a track meet, but it was there.
A tool?
It had a 3.5
You mean a knife?
inch blade, but also in that backpack he had snacks.
That's totally fine, right? Pack it up, we're done here. It was just a tool that he had, and it was something that he just had with everything else. What a great argument.
He had school puzzles, and he had a cross.
Your Honor, yes, the defendant may have had a knife, but he also had Cool Ranch Doritos.
Imagine.
I rest my case. Real lawyer, by the way. That
Really?
woman is a real lawyer.
No, you can't. Not like that. You can't.
There were thousands and thousands of videos and tweets just like this. You probably get the point.
Let me guess. Mostly paid for by the taxpayers.
These weren't just like cherry picked. They were everywhere. But it wasn't just Twitter nobodies and Blue Sky nobodies. There was also sitting Congress people saying this.
Okay, so we are going to talk about it.
Black women live in fear and agony every single day.
Right? Sure.
A fear and agony that I promise you, the Metcalfs probably never spent a day living that way.
Okay.
Yes, someone's teenage
fear and agony that justice is going to meter itself out if you commit a crime. Wow, that's man. I mean, I describe myself as a communist or at least a socialist, but some of us can be reasonable, and I have a good debate without talking to Blue Sky and calling names for no reason. Exactly. Like, again, we're not going to castigate all communists or socialists because there are obviously people within those movements who can have a reasonable debate and not divulge or devolve into common quotes leftist tactics. We all have a problem with the people who are devolving into these tactics because it doesn't make your position look good, and it most certainly does not endear them to the opposition. Unfortunately, when the internet gets involved, that's a minority. Exactly. I mean, like I said, I think that, I know this is going to be shock amongst shock, I think that maybe in some socialist policies, there might be some good to be gleaned. And it's important to have people to have those voices, or at least think in those terms. But it's very hard to convince somebody when the socialists that they see are like this. Or rather,
but please keep in mind
commonality
the real
with
here.
it.
Black women.
I don't know what he had.
It was like it seemed like it was a multi-tool, almost like a Swiss Army.
Like with the little scissors and everything. And
That comes, I literally have one right here. It comes with a fucking knife on it. And you want to know what? It's a knife. It is a long piece of metal that you can use to break the skin and stab into somebody. You put enough force behind it and hit somebody in the right spot, you can pierce an organ and you can kill somebody.
whatever. So it was small.
Your Honor,
Doesn't
the knife
matter.
my client used to kill the man was small. What? By the way, I've not seen a single...
Yeah, and a 22 bullet's smaller than a knife, and yet you can still kill somebody relatively effectively with that. Like, it doesn't matter how big it is, you can kill somebody with nearly anything.
Democrat politician come out and disavow this idiot. So until then, I'm just going to assume they all agree. What's funny is they can't come out and disavow it because they'll all be attacked and called racist, and they know it. This was a viral Substack written by a university professor. Are you ready for this? Dear
No.
Jeff Metcalf, Your son is dead because you failed to teach him that black boys have boundaries.
His person should be removed from the university. This person should be castigated from academia. This person should never be allowed to work in academia again. This is something that we shouldn't allow, societally speaking, people to excuse murder via. This is disgusting.
Yesterday evening, Jeff Metcalf, the father of Austin Metcalf, used his victim impact statement to address Carmelo Anthony directly after he was sentenced to 35.
My 10-centimeter tungsten cube would like to have words with its small argument. Exactly. Just, man. By the way, I can't believe that you're allowed to have 10-centimeter cubes in there. It might be like next week that they're going to ban those, right? I'm sorry. I saw the shot. I had to take it. Stop. She's already in the UK.
Years after the court treated his act of survival as murder. The elder Metcalf reportedly described Austin as a boy, twin, son, leader, true warrior. He remembered him as a baby grabbing his finger. He talked about teaching him to fish, watching him take...
Also, by the way, the father of Austin Metcalf, he has been going off on Twitter, and I think justifiably and rightfully so, 100%. Doesn't help my case, but I literally walk around daily with at least 3 separate blades, each about 10 to 12 centimeters long, and all lethally sharpened. I mean, again, when you have a society, and this is what I really miss, you could have people walking around with sabers and guns, essentially, on their hips, and know that nothing bad's going to happen. It is when society on a whole starts banning these things that you know you've started down the decline of society, because nobody can trust their fellow countrymen or their fellow neighbor, essentially, to not utilize these implements and these tools in a way that is not befit of a normal citizen. YouTube auto-modded, though, thought that was a self-harm con. Oh my god, imagine. Nearly every kitchen knife is longer than that, exactly. But for sure, though, like, that is where my biggest issue has and will always be with anybody making... By the way, we are going to be getting, I believe, Twitch tomorrow for gaming. I'm going to just shadow drop this here. I'm going to try my hardest to make sure that is live tomorrow for you, Master Builder. But as I was saying, I think it is indicative of the health of society when they start banning things that traditionally people were able to carry around for largely self-defense purposes, but not actually self-defense purposes, more like because they can just carry it around. And yeah, like I said, it's just indicative of the health of society. And it really makes me upset that we've gotten here, because we've lost what it means to trust one another. I tried fast now. Okay.
His first buck, and
good job,
seeing
Mods.
him grow up too fast.
You got it.
He spoke of a scholarship created in Austin's memory and said his family has been robbed. And right there, his own words. Jeff Metcalf told on himself.
Imagine.
In your own memorial language, you told us about the kind of white boyhood Austin was raised inside. It was a boyhood steeped in conquest language,
You're shackled either way.
warrior fantasies, masculine toughness, and the romance of force. You told us about a child praised for not just being kind, curious, gentle, or careful, but for becoming a leader and a warrior.
By the way, these are positive descriptions. If you want to take any type of negative description from a father describing his son in what is traditionally positive values, traditionally masculine values, and try to protract it in such a way to turn them into negative values, I want you to kindly go fuck yourself. You are the reason that everything is wrong with society.
In a racist culture where those words too often mean dominance. This psycho saw a grieving father describe his son as a leader and a warrior and freak the fuck out because his son is white and therefore that's like white supremacy or some shit. In their world, white people are like only allowed to hate themselves, right? That's why libs are often the...
That's why if you are white, the best form of resistance that you can have is to not hate yourself. You just say, I will never hate myself, my ancestors, or anything that came before me. Go fuck yourself.
Way that they are.
I live
just,
my
like,
life
absolute
like
cucks,
that
just,
every
like,
day of
rolling
my
over and
life.
showing their bellies. Haha, what white people can't dance. White people, like, they don't season their food. Because being anything other than that gets you treated like this. Reminder that this is a professor in a college teaching students right now, and you wonder why people are.
Like I said, I don't want anything bad to happen to them, but if they were on fire in front of me, I probably wouldn't even piss on them to put them out. I'd be like, oh, I guess it's just an act of God.
The way that they are. I swear we had it made in the 90s. I swear that was like peak normalcy. Do you feel that way? Maybe I'm...
Yes. 100% unequivocally, yes. It was, if not the peak of normalcy, it was the closest thing that we have gotten to normalizing just societally permissive, but also societally restrictive behavior. The near perfect intersection of the Venn diagram of allowing what is permissible and disallowing what isn't permissible in the average. It was damn near as close as we have gotten to what I would consider to be the perfect situation. And unfortunately, we have gone in the opposite direction, and hopefully, fortunately, in the near future, we are going to get back to that. And I hope to God, I pray every single night that it does not take incredible violence to get us back to that, because history has shown that it is the norm to be violent and the exception to not be. Need I remind everybody that modern history is but a small amount of history.
Just like a stupid millennial like nostalgia because I was a child back then and didn't know. I don't know. I kind of feel like race relations were better back then because it was all like, oh, we don't see color, and then they flipped it and they were like, actually, if you don't see color, you're racist. You have to acknowledge your white privilege and you're a colonizer. Like, what the I feel like my worldview's just been shattered. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean we can't just all be in a circle and sing Kumbaya? What is this? Like, I was always taught from my parents, from my teachers, like, we shouldn't judge people on their skin color, blah, 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 blah. And, like, were these people just not taught that? Were they not taught that?
No, they were taught the opposite.
I feel like they were just taught from a young age, like, white people bad, like, it was just hammered into their fucking heads. And, like, honestly, like, white people...
In college, that's actually what I was taught. Believe it or not, I had a few professors that were not drinking of the poisonous chalice, so to speak, but there were a couple of professors that I had that would have nearly said that verbatim. You can't allow these people to have any form of power. I'm sorry, you just can't. This ideology must be excised in the most drastic ways that you can think.
People get told that in, like, university. Like, they go to college and they get told, white people are bad, white people are bad. It's really upsetting that a family had to bury their child, and it's all being overshadowed by insane people trying to make it about race. In a normal world, it wouldn't be about race, but we don't live in a normal world. I would like to believe a majority of people don't believe in some, like, Civil War, race war thing.
Are you blooming shadow banned?
Kumbaya bullshit. Like, I just want to be like, okay, this is...
Are you shadow banned? I don't see anything that says that I need to... You know what? You're too powerful. You are too powerful for YouTube.
Just a minority of crazy people on the internet. At least
that's why we
myself.
appreciate having you around.
So that was that video. Hopefully you got some enjoyment out of my brain breaking. If you like this video, please...
Listen, shoot, my brain's been breaking too. I cannot believe that people can get away with saying this stuff. I know for a fact that literally, there are a lot of people out there that if they had said anything like that, they would be immediately nuked.
Subscribe, and if you can, donate to my Patreon, link down below. We have started doing Patreon-only live streams. The last one was a lot of fun, so I would love to see you there at the next one. And I will see you guys soon with a new video.
Guys, I don't... That one was a headache. I cannot believe that we had to deal with that. Holy shit, that was so bad. What the fuck, dude? Man. Though there could be some auto banning. Yeah, no. I'll have to check to see what my auto banned words. I do have some words that are auto banned, but they're just like generalized like YouTube filter. So I'd have to check to see, because like, obviously I didn't want to type out my own like list of words. So I don't know what I can do to fix that, because I think it's just safer overall to stream with just straight up auto banned words. Can I check I don't know if I can check your chat log here to see what was taken away. But I can investigate, turning the auto mod off and then redoing it manually. But I try to keep as much distance as I can, just because I want to make sure that it's not, I don't have something on there and then YouTube nukes me because somebody said something weird. It's kind of a relic of before I even had a mod, so I'll have to check about it. It's not coming to auto mod. Yeah, try refreshing your page. I know I haven't lagged at all. I have 0 dropped frames and my connection has not gone down once this entire stream. So I know it's not me. I guarantee it. I guarantee it's not me this time. All right. It could be YouTube. It could be YouTube. All right. So Helldivers 4 major factions. This was requested by a viewer of the channel to go over this. It's definitely a lot lighter than the last video. My God, that last video was taxing to watch. So I hope that we can lighten the mood a little bit with our good friend Commissar Kai. Oh my God, imagine if I could just boom.
The Second Galactic War has been a truly brutal and protracted affair
Truly.
for the 1 year and 7 months that it has been ongoing. It is the single most deadly war that humanity has ever fought in.
This is kind of a little bit of an older video, by the way.
4.3 billion Helldivers have been recorded as killed in action, with no means by which we could determine the civilian casualties, since it...
How many are we up to right now? Hang on. How many Helldivers have died so far in Helldivers 2? We're at 8.6 billion. Just letting everybody know. We are now double what that original number was.
Begun. In wars of truly catastrophic scale,
hello there,
civilian
Master Builder.
Casualties can compare and even surpass military casualties.
Mhm,
And that is using human conflicts as a scale, not alien. That, more than anything, portrays the scale of the loss of human life in the wake of these intergalactic horrors. The Terminids are the very manifestation of human greed, having been genetically altered to a degree so heinous that they
Check
don't even
art
resemble their genetic forebearers of the First Galactic War. They are the sole
Hell
resource
yeah.
that allowed humanity.
You're really out here flexing on Munstery right now. There ain't no knife bins in Germany. Honestly, those was pretty nice knives. I really like the one in the middle there. That's a nice nice finish right there. I have something similar to that. Pretty sure my grandfather's got one, although obviously the blade's like twice the length of that. Oh man. Those are little guys. Granted, that's probably EU standard. Nice.
To breach the stars and claim the galaxy. With the Terminids, we risk losing everything, and without them, we will lose everything. The automatons are the result of a perverted legacy, the progeny of the cyborgs. They are the disgraced cousins of humanity, hell-bent on our extinction and the complete consumption of our galaxy to fuel their senseless need for conflict and war. Finally, the Illuminate are the ghosts
This
of
is an
our
interesting
past,
take
a species
on
brought low
This
for
is an interesting take on the Helldivers factions, how they're kind of more metaphorical. I don't know if I'm convinced yet, but we'll see.
Their arrogance in assuming a higher station to Super Earth, humanity, and our ingrained values. The race was not made for war, but after their defeat, they endured 100 years of strife, returning to the galaxy with a vengeance so potent that they will not be satiated until the very last human is ground to dust beneath their autocratic intent. Lastly, Super Earth, humanity, the dominant species of the galaxy, a still young intergalactic federation that reigned in the hostile environment of our galaxy against all odds. Through the effective management of the Federation with managed democracy.
Let's see, where are we going with this? Okay, so we're going to have a bit of a description about it beforehand, and then we're going to talk about it. Let me think. Let me see if I can try to predict where we're going. obviously we're trying to ascribe a metaphor to the, what are they called? The factions in Helldivers. But the directionality in which we're going is it seems like it's homocentric. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm just kind of like piecing this together right now in my brain.
Was always made possible, but not without sacrifice and perseverance.
Mhm,
the First
mhm,
Galactic
mhm.
War demonstrated the urgency of being prepared for
'Cause, like, what I'm trying to figure out is like, is this going to be in the style of like satire, where we're kind of like looking at it through the lens of through the framework of satire, or is this we're analyzing the piece of media not as a work of satire, but as like its own serious endeavor?
catastrophic intergalactic conflicts. The Second Galactic War is the demonstration of the commitment to those principles. Only through learning about our enemies can we hope to ultimately defeat them. Canonicity Advisory. This video deals with speculation. Helldivers 2 is a live service game. The continuity is always developing, and contents discussed may be disproven or made redundant by the time you view this video. In the sprawling Second Galactic War, you will become familiar with the Automatons, an unfeeling, robotic, and despotic regime. Super Earth's propaganda paints them as mindless machines bent on destruction.
I mean, they are, though.
The unknown truth behind these metallic
only good bot
legions
is a
remains
dead bot.
sinister. They stand a chilling echo, yet perverted, of the very history and habits of humanity itself, inheriting a conflict from their long-extinct progenitors and born with absolute disregard for everything humanity holds sacred. To truly grasp the automatons, we must go back to where they began.
I mean, this is very well produced,
a
though.
splinter of humanity
Damn
who,
clankers!
misguided
Damn
by
clankers!
radical ideals, believed they were fighting for something akin to freedom. Freedom from Super Earth's managed democracy. They sought a mechanical evolution on cyberspace.
Okay, so I think we're approaching this from the perspective of an in-universe exploration of them, also with an in-universe, maybe philosophical bent on it. So from that perspective, this is making a little bit more sense.
A path that inherently dismissed conventional human values,
Mhm.
leaving Super Earth no choice but to act on their very existence. From this tragic divergence came something horrifyingly potent. The automatons, cast into the void with only one directive: destroy Super Earth and end humanity. They are a manifestation of the mistakes of the past, a cold metallic progeny born from a perverted technological genesis. And here is where it gets truly unsettling. The very real possibility of automaton sentience, coupled with their unsettling familiar efficiency. The known lore, along with countless theories from Helldivers in the field, suggests that these machines aren't merely following any program or acting on any series of directives. They exhibit behaviors suggesting a collective consciousness, an ingrained contempt for flesh. Their chilling propaganda, their guttural voice lines, their cold, calculating actions. This isn't
Sorry, by
just
the way, if I'm hitting
advanced
my
AI.
hitting
This
something.
is a
I
shared
can see myself
identity,
continuing the move.
A purpose rooted in an utter lack of concern for Super Earth's ideals for liberty, democracy, and even organic life itself. They were forged to dismiss, and do so with a cold, systematic effectiveness that feels disturbingly like a warped reflection of humanity's own historical
Man, you got
patterns
the
of
fire
warfare
brigade in
and
there.
conquest.
I hate those things. Those things suck to fight against.
Unsettling effigies to human suffering decorate their environments, a clear and fundamental
You know, we're going to put it this way. It's actually really good that they've got a community of people. I mean, I'm sure that the community still exists and people still do it, but a community of people who want to make a lot of stuff analyzing the game outside of the actual development studio, because that speaks to the lasting effects of the narrative. like I said, the Soulsborne games have that 100%, and that's really cool that they do. I'm glad that kind of is going to other games. A lot of people enjoy making content about this stuff, especially because you can get some really interesting projects that people make from the source material, and it's just fun to go along for the ride. So I think I'm probably going to be mostly along for the ride for this video with you guys.
Enunciation.
I don't really have anything to add.
Unwavering pursuit of democracy. Their objective on Cyberstand isn't about their freedom. It's about the continued existence and expansion of their mechanical form, counter to whatever Super Earth desires. So when you face down a legion of automatons, remember this.
I hope I don't
You
get
are not
DMCA'd by
fighting a
the
mirror image of humanity
background music.
seeking their own version of liberty.
I shouldn't,
You're
but
confronting a force driven by a chilling and profound apathy towards the very core of what makes us human. They don't want freedom. They simply have no use for our values. They are now alien, not only in form, but in their complete and utter rejection of humanity's creed, weaponized by a perverted legacy. The automatons stand as a cautionary tale of the consequences of veering away from the light of managed democracy.
I was wondering where we were going to wrap all this up with. Okay. So it does make sense. Like I said, they're applying...
The Terminids
They are applying a metaphorical existence to them, showing them as not only that, like, they are enemies, of course, but they are also a metaphor for leaving the Overton window of what is acceptable beliefs. The narrow Overton window, mind you.
Present a unique and pervasive species.
I guess it would be more of an
acting
allegory
both
rather
as
than a metaphor.
necessary resource and existential threat. These cannot be merely compared to insects or anything else we may know, but a distinct biological phenomenon driven by an inherent consuming instinct for proliferation. Their presence signifies a biological imperative for expansion, posing an existential challenge to the established order across the galaxy and the Federation of Super Earth.
This is going to be one of the, because I think you mentioned that this was kind of like an allegory for greed. It's going to be a little bit more of a hard sell for me for this one for greed, because I think there's probably better human conditions that probably could apply to it. I'd have to sit down and think where I'd want to go with that, but I think that there's probably a better direction.
Conventional life cycles,
Not sure, though.
Terminids spread
We'll
via
see.
highly effective spores. These microscopic agents can initiate
Because-
new colonies from
Because greed could also be taken in terms of Super Earth greed, and I don't think that in universe you could approach Super Earth as being greedy, because they would say it's necessary.
virtually any suitable environment. Once established, these nascent hives rapidly expand, consuming local biomass and rendering planets uninhabitable. This process, occurring for over 100 years, has led to a clear distinction between pre- and post-engineered Terminids, with post-engineered Terminids shedding their seemingly crustacean physical attributes for much more insect-adjacent characteristics. The galactic anomaly known as the Gloom seemingly accelerating this evolutionary process, leaving only hyper-lethal Terminids in its wake. The motivation behind Terminid actions is not ideological or strategic in a conventional sense. Their existence is dictated by a singular,
I'm really
unyielding
liking the
instinct
way
to
that
reproduce, expand, and
I'm really liking the way that he's produced this and the way that he's blocked like a lot of these shots. I'm pretty sure that there is, it's not a cheat function. It might be a cheat function, but I know that there's a lot of like cheat tools that you can use in order to do stuff like this. And I know it's a constant battle that developers have between the community that wants to produce things like this and the bad actors in the community who will use these tools that people develop in order to actually cheat in the game. And I really don't want to see tools like this go away, because you get high quality produced material like this.
destroy. From the smallest drone to the largest titan, every action serves this purpose. They operate as a force
Saying
of
that
pure
as I remember,
biological devastation.
I remember
demonstrating
when League of Legends updated a lot of stuff, and a lot of the tools that people used to use just didn't work anymore, and like essentially the community for League content was nearly killed overnight.
Adaptability to diverse environments. While their physical defenses may appear less robust than other adversaries, their capacity for overwhelming numbers and relentless assault presents a profound tactical challenge, necessitating continuous vigilance and substantial force application.
Man, you got the stalwart going against the Biotitan, you can have a hard time.
Has naturally led to inquiries regarding the relevance of their continued existence. Super Earth's protocols for resource management are designed to be comprehensive. Our efforts to cultivate and manage Terminid populations were undertaken with the galaxy's energy needs in mind, harvesting vital element 710 as a byproduct of their decomposition. However, the unpredictable nature of alien biology can sometimes lead to unforeseen challenges in containment. All efforts must be made to recontain the Terminid scourge for the continued supply of this crucial resource. Therefore, when engaging Terminids, it is crucial you recognize them as the resource that they are. Their purpose is not to negotiate or conquer, but to consume, expand, and fuel the Federation of Super Earth. They represent a fundamental biological rejection of all human values, and no pity should be had.
Don't worry, I got some stuff to add into.
Are a stark reminder of the constant vigilance required.
I got some stuff to add into the conversation in general after I'm done streaming. I have to go get a picture of it. Yeah, I definitely think that you probably, or rather, I think there probably could have been a better argument for maybe the gluttony angle. Mostly in the fact that, like, I don't know if greed was the right avenue, because it could be read in a lot of different ways, but I definitely think maybe like an angle that frames them more as a destructive force if unchecked, and that humanity itself is a check on it. So the metaphor obviously being that we are the stewards of the Terminids to make sure that they not only don't destroy the galaxy but also themselves. Might have been a better way to approach that, but still an interesting direction.
Automatons was a threat far more enigmatic and insidious: the Illuminates. This ancient species, known for its profound technological prowess and mastery over the very fabric of reality, operates on thin morals and principles that defy human comprehension. They are a calculated assault on the very fabric of galactic stability. A silent, pervasive influence that seeks to reshape the cosmos according to their alien design. Historical records confirm that the Illuminate observed
really pulling the old
for
sprites.
potentially
I love
centuries. Their advanced reconnaissance
I never got a chance to play Helldivers 1
in the 21st century.
But I
in 2044,
did look at what was going on there before I played Helldivers 2.
Super Earth intelligence, ever vigilant,
I was curious,
quickly discerned the true nature of this overture. A veiled threat given their possession of technologies capable of planetary devastation. This preemptive understanding necessitated immediate and decisive action against their emissaries. The ensuing conflict for the First Galactic War was a brutal and protracted affair. The Illuminates, with their superior shielding, energy-based weaponry, and initial underestimation of humanity, were eventually met with
I like how they've got him hung up like an actual corpse. That's really funny.
They were decisively defeated and demilitarized, their technology seized, and their presence seemingly eradicated from the galaxy. For a century, Super Earth believed the Illuminate threat neutralized. However, this proved to be a dangerous misconception. Through the Meridian Singularity emerged vast fleets. The Illuminate have returned, confirming their unexpected survival and their continued xenophobic intent. Most disturbing was the immediate revelation that their humanoid assailants, the Voteless, were in fact former citizens of Super Earth, abducted and grotesquely transformed into mind-controlled monstrosities, tragically beyond salvation. The Illuminates' tactics in this renewed conflict combine overwhelming numbers with their highly advanced reality-bending technology. They deploy hordes of these vile creations alongside resilient flesh mobs. Do not be mistaken, this is not the same enemy we fought in the First Galactic War.
That was interesting. You could see, hang on, Is this what you can kind of see, like them loading
alongside resilient flesh mobs?
Because I feel like,
do not be mistaken.
Yeah, because they
This is
stopped
not
moving.
The same enemy we
Interesting.
fought in the First Galactic War.
It's like it took a little bit of time to pathfind.
Is a
They're like,
testament to their
this way.
calculated malevolence and their profound disregard for all life that does not conform to their alien will. The Illuminates represent a fundamental challenge to managed democracy. Their advanced technology and their newly discovered willingness to pervert organic life make them a unique and grave threat. The Illuminate violated the cradle of humanity, and for that, Super Earth's mandate remains clear. Contain and ultimately eradicate this alien menace once and for all. Our vigilance must remain absolute, for the Illuminate embody a future where reality itself is subject to alien will. A future that Super Earth will never allow to materialize.
Never.
The human race has a long and storied history dating
Immediate
back over a
tone
million
shift,
years.
by the way.
While the majority of our existence hasn't been
Soft.
recorded, and what has been recorded
Nice,
has been
placid
forgotten,
music.
there is one undeniable constant
Love
that
to
our
see it.
species always finds itself coming back to. Humanity's drive for conflict stands out starkly against the backdrop of other species for any matter of reasons, many of which being rooted in our cognitive complexity, symbolic thinking, and social structures. Old humanity fought itself over ideas, religion, politics, identity, and imagined borders. Before our expansion into the cosmos, and even after, we understood
Is this
that
just
no
stock
other
footage?
species constructed
What is
abstract
this?
belief systems alongside the means through which these systems would be imposed. Concepts that are seemingly ingrained in
This
the human
is
consciousness.
old footage.
Humans are capable of extraordinary empathy and collaboration, yet also cruelty and domination. This duality is a rare occurrence in nature. Much of our recorded history before and during the
Fallout
21st
intro? Okay,
century
Fallout intro.
would
Gotcha.
stand to be
I've never
forgotten.
played Fallout,
The
not gonna
governments
lie.
of the old were divided and entirely selfish.
Boy, gotcha.
These governments would plunge the human race into
Never
the
got
last
into
great
Fallout.
war, a conflict so cataclysmic.
And I'm never
that
gonna probably go back and
would
play it
only
because
narrowly
I
evade
can't play a
extinction,
Bethesda game.
Consumed in the fires of a war so great that it left
Not with their
portions of
current-
continents
not with
as
their
nothing
current,
more than radioactive wastelands, entirely unsuitable
Their
for
current
human
library.
habitation. Entire ecosystems would collapse, and the Earth's biosphere would remain a tattered shadow of its former glory, even today. This way of life could not continue. Senseless conflict, division, and prejudice was leading humanity down a dark path. The human dream couldn't end on Earth. The last Great War was humanity's last chance to turn back from this darkness it found itself falling into. From the ashes of this war arose a planetary super
Fallout New
government,
Vegas? Nice.
The Federation
I heard that
of
one was like one of the
Super-Earth.
good ones.
The amalgamation of Earth's governing bodies under one banner, one flag, and one identity. Super Earth.
This
and
almost sounded
managed
like one of my PAX
democracy.
Historia games.
Finally, humanity's future has seemed like one destined
Yeah,
to last
Fallout
forever.
New Vegas was Obsidian.
Once great enemies worked together to stabilize Super Earth, the human race, through toil and grit, would make something of this violated world and restore the splendor that we
Mhm.
all take for granted today. Together, humanity would reach towards the stars, this unity profoundly elevating our technological and cultural evolution. By the year 2044,
Yeah, it's
humanity
still
had
on the
already
creation
begun its
engine,
march
right?
across the solar system, with colonies on Mars and the Moon paving the way for terraforming of other celestial bodies. Our dream of the stars was made possible.
Oh,
by
I
the
have a
Alcubierre
friend
warp
who
drive, a
really,
marvel of engineering
really
that allowed
likes
us to
Fallout New
bend the fabric of
Vegas.
space itself. But our expansion was slow. A
He's
crawl across the cosmos,
whoever the new
until
Caesar is.
we
He's
were
like
unexpectedly
he's like that
confronted by
faction
the
is the
Illuminates,
faction for
an
him.
alien race that had been watching us from the shadows, witnessing the last great war for themselves. They offered a peace deal, a chance for a new kind of future, but we rejected it. Instead, their messengers were executed. Humanity was always going to return to its roots. For decades, the war with the Illuminate was a stalemate, a perpetual back and forth with neither side fully committed, but a far more insidious threat was on the horizon. Around 2060, teams would discover a new alien species, the Terminids. This discovery would change humanity forever, leading to an unexpected revelation. The decaying remains of these creatures produced a substance called E710, a cheap and efficient
holy
fuel
red
for our
flag.
warp
Yeah.
drives. This discovery ignited a second wave of colonization, as private corporations raced to establish Terminid farms and secure new territory in the name of the Federation of Super Earth.
You're doing a Legion playthrough.
The new
Nice.
front with the Terminids quickly escalated from a
Nice.
resource race to a desperate
I like
fight
half know
for
what that
survival.
means.
The Terminids adapted.
The
their
Caesar's
threat
Legion.
growing from a mere
Legion.
nuisance to a force that threatened entire colonies. Then, in 2084, a third front emerged, the Cyborg Revolt. Slaves with cybernetic enhancements, a legacy of the private sector's exploitive practices, rose up and attacked Super-Earth itself, a terrible act of terrorism that added a new layer of chaos to the galactic conflict. The First Galactic War ended with the demilitarization of the Illuminate, complete subjugation of the revolting cyborgs, and the recontainment of the Terminids, which led to a century of uninterrupted E710 farming. A golden age had crowned the horizon of humanity. But, as we know, the peace was not to last. At some unknown point, the bastard offspring of the cyborgs would reveal themselves, the automatons. They would commit to an assault on Outpost
clankers.
32, an invasion
Got like
so
a
violent and swift that even
fucking
today, after
response
the deaths of
every
4
time I hear
billion
them.
Helldivers,
Clankers.
posters recognizing the event are still prominent across the colonies of Super-Earth. But as soon as they'd arrived, they left, leaving humanity with more questions than
No, they
answers.
didn't leave. We
In
pushed them out of the
February
galaxy. I was there.
2084, the Terminids would finally breach their century-long containment and begin their violent expansion across human-inhabited space. And mere days from being recontained, the automatons would re-emerge from deep space, hell-bent on remaining a fixture of our galaxy, being responsible for the lives of billions, preventing any chance that we had of recontaining the Terminids. The Second Galactic War would begin. 9 months of conflict would ensue, leaving countless dead, but this was not nearly the end. Humanity's hubris was the single most detrimental matter at hand, being responsible for the Terminid infestation of Meridia and the subsequent birthing of the Meridia Singularity. Using technology from the extinct Illuminate, creating the means through which this most insidious enemy
I love
would
how this
return.
game has its like
And they
own
did
like
return
legitimate
with a
serious
vengeance,
history
perhaps like no other. For
that's
the first time
taken
in
very
over 200
seriously.
years,
Like,
Earth
thank
would see a
God we have
conflict
that.
of extinction-level proportions.
Arrowhead
This
can
invasion
only
would be
fumble the bag,
repelled
and they are
at
trying to do it
incredible
every
cost.
second of the day.
Today, humanity stands at the three-point crossroads of a war. Super-Earth's most splendorous colonies are drowning in war refugees. The offensive war has long since passed, and we are officially on the back foot against enemies that are incentivized to adapt. The opportunity for negotiations passed over 100 years ago. This is a war that we need to win, or we face an ultimate and precise extinction. Yep, that's a wrap. But this was an incredible experience.
That was a pretty good video.
I don't know if I would do something quite this long again. And I know saying like just over 20 minutes isn't saying a lot.
No,
but
no. This was a lot of work. Like like the cuts that you made, the script writing. Like, man, this had to have taken, if you were rushing, like maybe half a month. If you weren't rushing, you were trying to get this out on a leisurely time, like probably like a month, maybe 2.
For me, it was. I'm a one-man army on this YouTube channel. I'm sure I could.
This
bring
took a
more people
lot
on
of
to help
work.
me, but I prefer it this way. I'd really like to become a propaganda commander in the main Helldivers Discord, but I don't see that happening in the near future. I don't even know what routes
Yeah, I don't think
I'd have
you
to go
are,
through
because
in
I don't think
order
they
to
added
achieve
anymore,
that.
right?
I don't think I'm willing to. I'm just happy where we're at right now in the life of the YouTube channel and the progression of
Who are
the
we again?
regiment.
First
I've
Colonial?
learned so much over the duration this channel has been up. We're almost coming up on a year of doing Helldivers content, and I wanted it to be something meaningful. So if you enjoyed what I did here, like and subscribe, and I would really appreciate.
Because this
if you
video came
shared
out
this.
10 months ago,
The quality
so
of content I really lives up. I hope
No.
lives up to expectations. I don't know, but
they have
I
not,
truly broke my
unfortunately,
back
made it
doing
into
this.
the Propaganda Commander program.
If you haven't been paying attention to the First Colonial Regiment YouTube channel as of late,
I don't think.
you'll notice that we have another major initiative narrative campaign going on that involves the entirety of the Helldivers clan community, at least what we are associated with, specifically
all right,
those in
So this is
orbit of the
probably,
unified
yeah,
Helldivers.
this is all stuff from like around 10 months ago. But that was a good video nonetheless. Like, that was actually very well put together. Like I said, that had to have taken a lot of work. Interesting approach from it. I don't know if I entirely agree with everything, but I thought it was a pretty good video. Very well put together. Definitely, let's see, do you have any more? So we're gonna go quick 20-second adventure. Okay, it looks like they've got some like different content kind of in the similar vein to that. Definitely go check it out. Oh yeah, I've seen these around, I think. Yeah, I think I've seen these floating around every now and again. I don't know if I've ever really watched any. But we definitely should probably get into that in the near future. Great video, great video. All right. We're going to be moving on now to some gaming news. Let's see, what do we want to do? We're like Endymion. I think we're going to do the Endymion, and then we're going to do Legendary Drops video. And then we'll save Real Life Fake Wizard for next week. I know. Real Life Fake Wizard's going next week, but that's okay.
Naturally,
all right.
we reached the point where
what do we got, Endymion? Sorry, we're going to go ahead. Boom.
Naturally, we reached the point where the games industry is now running defense for Sony PlayStation
Of course
and their
they are.
choices surrounding physical media.
Yeah, because the games industry has a vested interest in wresting as much power away from you as they can.
As if the backlash wasn't enough, now it turns out digital is better actually. No, seriously guys, it is. Come on, stop being mad. After all, look what Gizmodo said here. Game discs deserve to die.
Thank you, Gizmodo. Sit back down.
Hey, come on guys, just believe us. Stop ratioing everything we
Also, reading time 5 minutes. Like, I feel like the addition of how long it's going to take you to approximately read an article almost feels insulting.
post already. As Gizmodo then says it here, discs are a dying medium and it's time we think beyond them for the sake of gaming's future. Oh, is that right? Dying medium, you say? Well, that's interesting because Eurogamer recently reported, as you can see, that Sony's plans backfired because
I don't think that was whatever it was called. Oh shit. Now I'm going to look like an idiot. What's that fucking game called? It's Pinocchio, who's like main character. It's a Soulsborne. Fuck. It just had a DLC come out. No, please go back to the store. I have Iron Harvest pulled up. I'm getting ready for it. Put it on my wish list. Shit, what's it called? Fuck. Liza P. There it goes. Liza P. That almost looked like I should probably play Liza P again. I need to play through that again.
Demand has actually gone through the roof for physical disc drives for PlayStation 5 digital versions and the Pro. So much so that they had to limit each order to 1 disc drive per order because people were desperate to.
I'm still just absolutely floored that we have allowed the games industry to not give us physical copies of games. Like, we just can't get physical copies of it. I like pretty much any industry, I'm going to be completely honest. Like, the full on disincentivization of giving you physical copies has been something that really has disappointed me over the... Yes, Iron Harvest, yes, definitely. Like I said, I've got it. I'm getting ready for it. I'm waiting for it to come out. I know. You heard it. You're like, Iron Harvest, yes. I'm like that too. Trust me, I can't wait to play it.
Get theirs before games went extinct pretty much. And gee, I wonder why that is. Before anyone says, well, that's not true. Okay, here's a screenshot of the PlayStation Store with that disc drive, and look at that in red. Yeah, limit of 1 per order. Uh-oh, but I thought nobody wanted physical media. I was specifically told it was good, actually, that I would own nothing and just be happy. But hilariously, Gizmodo unravels their own article by proving themselves wrong via an article they posted themselves in 2023. As it says here,
No,
here. 9
really?
out of 10 classic video games.
They literally proved themselves wrong when in their own article with their own. I would have never. It's probably written by AI anyway.
Games are commercially unavailable, study finds. That study says that just 13% of video games from before 2010 are commercially available, and it's hurting efforts to preserve video game history.
This is an important issue. Video game preservation is and will always be an important issue. We live in a world in which it should be super easy to preserve the media that's been coming out, especially with the awareness of people having the forethought and wherewithal to preserve seminal works and works that contribute to the culture. Now, am I trying to say that everything should be preserved? I would say that there probably are some things that have a little bit lower of a priority for sure. But I definitely think that a lot of things, like everything that can be preserved, should be. And it's a shame that we're losing the ability to do that without physical copies.
Wow, but you guys just told me it was
especially
actually
because they're going to fail eventually.
It's fine that 87%
like the
of
hardware
all video
will.
games that have ever been made in the entirety of human history are just not playable
Man.
at all. Right, Gizmodo? You said that. The Video Game History Foundation did this report in 2023 where it says here, the other 87% are only playable through some museums
through
or
some
through
museums.
industry-derided piracy.
You actually played the tabletop it originated from a lot back in the days. The case alone was massive. Game massive. Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, like I'd be interested to know what tabletop that was called because the universe seems a lot more fully fleshed out in a way. That's why it seems very interesting. We literally have the intro image as a painting hung over their couch. That's actually pretty awesome.
Otherwise, you would need to spend
really
an
cool.
inordinate amount of time and money to collect old software and hardware to experience relics of gaming.
No, this is true. This is awful. Like I hate to say it, but gaming should be treated like, at least older gaming after a certain point should be treated like old film, where after like maybe 3 decades, it should go into public domain and become like parts of museum. I know that doesn't happen with a lot of film, but I'm saying, I'm just spitballing here, where it should become a matter of history because it's art history.
To fathom that, okay? They just admitted that the only way to play 87% of games that exist that aren't playable is through piracy, that the games industry itself is...
Which, by the way, it is not illegal to play a video game through piracy if there are no alternatives up to purchase it. If you cannot legally access something, legally speaking, you are now allowed to pirate something. Don't let anybody ever tell you anything differently. You can find alternative ways of accessing literally anything if there are no legal alternatives for you to be able to access it.
Doing to the very games that they have made because there's no other way of actually playing it right now. When the literal companies that hold the keys to the games themselves are admitting that piracy is the only way to play what they've created, you have to stop for a second and
wonder why the fuck this is.
How much of this is just knucking futs and you know it.
Yeah.
Let me read you this paragraph and you tell me if this sounds okay to you. In the group survey, they looked at 4,000 historical video games released prior to 2010 and researched whether they remain available through legitimate rights holders. This included games from abandoned platforms like the Commodore 64 and more from still widely available consoles like the PlayStation 2. Even though that latter system was one of the most popular game consoles of all time with a long lifespan that lasted even past the PlayStation 3's release, only 12% of its games remained available. There was no 5-year period before 2010 where availability rose above 20%. For
disgusting.
Games released before 1985, only 3% are now accessible. How is that okay? And something we allowed to be normalized?
It's because nobody really thinks about it in terms of future planning. You can't blame anybody because, you know, as much as you want to say that you can think about it, everybody's really too focused with what they've got going on in their own lives, and I totally understand it. I swear I could hear a piece of classical music, is that what it says? Swell up behind what you just said. I think what it is. But I'm pretty sure you probably could though. What does POC mean? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the acronym. Maybe I'm just not thinking. Like I said, I've still got vacation brain, so like there are going to be a few things that I'm going to miss. That's totally my fault. I'm trying to bring it back to center. I really am.
It's full of games unable to be played because some guys in suits are eating caviar that aren't allowing it to be played because they want more money for it in the future. This objectively shows that what Sony is doing and how people are reacting to it by selling out
Pirates of the
physical
Caribbean,
disc
gotcha.
drives of all things. That
I'm going to be completely honest. When you said pirates, I was like, oh, I get you. Piece of classical music. Imagine me being such a fucking dumbass. I'm not this much of a dumbass, I swear. Actually, I really am. But hey, no, good reference. By the way, Pirates of the Caribbean, I had to play that. Like, I have that seared into my mind. We had to play that fucking piece of music in my band class when we took band. Oh my God. I don't think I could ever listen to that entire piece of music again without like seeing sheet music and the nightmares of all the people who didn't want to be in band having to like meander their way through that forest of notes. No, don't worry. I get it. I totally get it. Like, no worries about that.
This entire thing has gone past the point of any redemption.
Mostly because I had already gotten to the next point, and if I had like in the point where I have my chat completely delayed, so and it's I don't know how to fix that. So I wasn't thinking in terms of piracy. It was I would have probably gotten it if I were talking about it. Don't worry about it. That was me. That was me fault. Me at bad.
Okay, games are art. They should not be seen as just products that are meant to be consumed. No matter how many PowerPoints these freaks think will justify it, as Gizmodo says it here, digital is the way to go because physical media degrades apparently. They do make a good point, at least at the end there.
Digital media does also degrade. 100%. It just degrades in a different way. Sure. Physical media degrades too, but that doesn't make digital media much better than digital media or vice versa. You need to have the physical copies, the physical media, because the excised problems that are caused with not having access to owning something changes the way in which products are related to the public, and you don't want that. Or rather, companies do, but consumers should not.
That there needs to
Same
be
with
a
Trumpet,
way to access your
huge.
media in a digital format that works, but the problem, like always, is that said ownership is not real, and that is the root of the issue. The part that annoys me is that Sony knows that this embrace of ownership is why they won the console war back in 2013. If you recall, Sony came on stage and announced that there would be no changes to your library at E3 2013. It was a huge big win, right? Xbox, however, they tried to do the opposite, and it was the reason they lost the console war right out of the gate following that PS4 versus...
So very true. Sony won by saying, we're not changing this. And Xbox just couldn't fucking realize that people want to own their shit.
Xbox One race, because they wanted to limit ownership when Sony at the time wasn't interested in it whatsoever. As this tweet from 2013, when it all showed, right? Sony back then understood this. They knew that their
now it's all coming back to me because they wanted to minimize the resale market or not allow the resale market in Xbox. And you want to know what? Fuck you, Xbox. You deserve the fucking shit you're in.
Consumer strategy is why they won that console war and why the PS4 was so successful for them. So to turn around and then pull an Xbox One 13 years later.
Was there a Code Vein anime? Wait a minute. What is this? Is there actually a Code Vein anime? Is there a Code Vein anime? No. Okay, so where is this? I don't remember this in the game. Am I just misremembering this?
It is. How else can I say it? Sites like Does It Play, as seen here, confirm that roughly 82% of physical PlayStation games can be played using just the disc. Although this number is likely going to become a memory for Sony as time goes on, but it proves that offering physical is still what people want. Because we want to own what we buy. In most other things, if I buy something, I do own it. If I get myself a TV or a monitor or a CD to like listen to music or a vinyl, it's mine. It's same thing that goes for my controllers for whatever console or anything else. The fact that games, which are arguably very expensive, aren't means most people likely just won't buy the majority of games that release then if that's
It's
what
the
happens.
opening. Is it really the opening sequence? There's no fucking way. I don't remember that. I usually watch opening sequences, but I mean, I'm not gonna call you wrong, and probably could be. It's been a while since I played Code Vein, to be completely fair. But you have to cut this off here. It's 2 a.m. You know what? That's okay. I understand. I hope you have a great sleep, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. I think we're playing some more Elden Ring tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Also, in the Ufotable animated... Okay, yeah, that makes sense. We're still trying to figure out what we're going to be playing for Friday, whether it's going to be Peak or Helldivers. Feel free to weigh in on that. I'm sure that we'll figure it out, but if you have an opinion or a preference, by all means, share it.
Because why pay full price for something that I don't own, right? Many players would be vindicated in being cheap or just not buying games until they go on these deep discounts. And honestly, at this point, I really wouldn't blame them one bit. But if the majority of players then become apathetic to the industry's woes, the industry would simply just fall apart. But it would not be
well,
the
everybody
players'
is
fault,
apathetic for
because
it.
if their
Open for any?
ownership
Gotcha.
is seen as disposable, then that is how they will view any game being released in kind. Oh, this game cost you guys, what, $500 million to develop in a bunch of years too? Too bad. I'm just going to buy it in 3 years when it's $5 on some deep sale and play it then if I want to. Don't get mad at us if the games aren't selling. If we don't own what we buy anyways, why would we pay full price then? After all, people treat things they own with more respect
Why would I
and
even buy
diligence
it?
than something that is seen as disposable. Look at how
you can extrapolate that even further out, right? It's like, if you're gonna, why would you pay full price for something that you're not going to own? Okay, but then like the extrapolation of that is why would I even pay for something if I'm not going to own it? And I think that's a legitimate argument. It's like, why would I ever want to buy something that I know for a fact that I'm never going to fucking own? I'm not going to do it. Like, fuck you. As it is, it's already hard enough to get me to like pinch my nose and fucking purchase a game where I know that like I don't own the physical disc for it. Granted, I'd love to be able to own my stuff, but like I hate having to sacrifice my ownership for convenience sake. I really do.
Is left when a movie's over versus someone's own living room that they pay for. That's what they're doing to games now. You get what you wished for. It's not even Gizmodo. Even Polygon, as seen here, says they won't mourn PlayStation's physical discs because in their eyes, the whole idea sucked anyway. It's a bold strategy. Let's see if it plays out for them. But Polygon opens their article, as you can see, saying that they're
Devil could even try Iron Harvest and multiplayer if you want. Oh. There is multiplayer, and I didn't know that Iron Harvest was multiplayer. Is it local multiplayer, or is it multiplayer as in like competitive, or is it like cooperative multiplayer? That definitely sounds interesting. Do we need this the demo, or is it full on what's it called? Is it only in the full game release? Because the full game's not out yet. It's out in August 6th, right? Pretty sure it is.
And that they understand why physical media matters, but they end that opening saying that either way, they're glad to see physical disc go because to them, it never suited the art form. Polygon then decides to give
that's a fucking wild take. That physical media never suited the art form of video games. Okay, you can go ahead and go fuck yourself.
Well,
like, what are you talking about?
For games, though, the optical discs pushed by Sony, CD-based at first, then DVD, then Blu-rays, were never a great fit. They were cheap to produce and easy to distribute, and with their high capacity, they enabled big games with fancy audio and cutscenes. But if the game needed to read data constantly from the disc, they were slow, noisy, and unreliable. Discs are easy to scratch or get dirty. A new
Iron Nest or I meant Iron Nest, not Iron Harvest. Although I do own Iron Harvest. I mean, it would be fun to play an Iron Harvest game, but I don't think too many people have that. It wasn't one that I would think that many people have. I thought you were talking about Iron Nest. I definitely misspoke and said Iron Harvest. Iron this, iron that. You know how it is.
Since for music
My
or
bad.
movies that skip, but a disaster for games which could become unplayable. Is the games industry and their protectors just having a bad take day today or something? It seems like it's more
well,
often
it's
than
more
usual
like
right
having
now.
a bad
So,
take year.
Let me get this straight, Polygon. You are defending Sony removing ownership because Blu-ray discs get dirty, scratched, and they're loud when they're in the console. Doesn't make much sense to me. You can't even scratch a Blu-ray disc. Believe me, I've tried. Many have too. Those things are nigh impossible to damage unless you're bending them and trying to twist them. And loud? I've never personally had Blu-ray discs sound super loud to me. Plus, even if it did make a bit of noise, the volume on your setup is going to mask it probably anyways. Like, what is going on here? Why are these websites all defending Sony when it comes to this? How do they not know this is
Because they
objectively
probably
the
get
dumbest
access
thing
to
have
Sony
pretty much
before
these days?
anybody else.
No, guys,
So
it's
they kind
totally
of have to
fine
defend
just
them.
not own your games because the discs make a bit of noise and they can be scratched even when
No,
they can't.
no.
This is who is defending these practices. Polygon then tries to
You own Iron Harvest 1920 plus, and that has multiplayer. Okay. I'll have to take a look at that because I think the only Iron Harvest game that I have is the one on Steam. That might be 1920 plus. I'm not sure. We can always think about it. I don't know if that would be a good fit for community games though, because it's like a long-term strategy game, I think.
make the argument as seen
But if
here that
Iron
on the PS3
Iron
developer
Nest
side,
were
they would
multiplayer,
load large amounts of
we'd
data
definitely
from the
play
disc
it.
to your PS3 to then make the game run, which in Polygon's opinion, this then makes the disc useless in that case. But it didn't, because objectively, whether the game was then downloaded onto the console, you still own the game via that disc existing.
It is?
that you
Okay,
have
cool.
That offloaded the data needed anyways. Because even in that scenario, you still owned your games.
All right, hang on. Quick 20-second adventure. Because if that's so true, hang on. Quick 20-second adventure. Yeah. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't say that it is. Whatever. I'm getting distracted. Let's finish this react.
That's the point. You
My
can still
bad.
give
Oops.
that game to a friend and then they could download it too. Polygon also makes the case that Nintendo banking on cartridges over disc was actually
Iron Nest is
the
not
right
multiplayer.
move.
Okay,
And
okay,
in my
okay.
opinion, no matter how it's stored physically, the point is still that you can take the thing and play it, and that should be the point that wins in the end no matter what. And it matters when, like I showed you already, that
I'm not gonna lie.
87%
I really enjoy the fact that I can go and pop in a disc from my PlayStation 2 and just play it.
of all games
I do not want that right
playable
to be
at this
taken away
point in
from me.
history. Yeah,
no, by
that
no
kind of matters, doesn't
by
it?
no matter
How are we
who. By the
okay
way,
with a statistic like that being normalized, all these games, and yet we can't play any of them because the very concept of physical media for those games do not work with what is usable today. Almost as if it's done on purpose to limit what we can play these days so that those older games can be ported and then sold back to us at a premium instead of just allowing
or
them
for
to
you
be
to
played
be
as
forced
is.
to play
That
the
is
sequel that
honest,
is
diabolical
inferior.
behavior. Sony, however, has allegedly been speaking to development teams and publishers in secret, but like always, these things do leak. As Eurogamer showed here, Sony had emails leaked by people in the industry about what they plan to do in the coming future. So this information originally came from GameFile, as you can see here from a tweet. Basically, Sony is allowing publishers to reorder physical discs of games that already exist to be distributed prior to 2018.
So wait. So new Sony private message to partners about discs also cited a consumer shift, but included more explicit confirmation that after January 2028, partners will still be able to place reorders for existing PlayStation disc games. Okay.
That cutoff period obviously happens. That's not the real news here, but that's part of it. But the thing that matters is that Sony has allegedly told publishers in emails that GameFile claims to have seen that Sony will not be abandoning physical releases
Good.
of their games, but like the article says,
That's
there
good,
is a
but-
big catch there. The plan, as of now anyways, is that Sony still wants to release games in those plastic cases as they always did, even when the PS6 releases. is. However, they are planning to turn any game they sell in a physical sense to be just like how Grand Theft Auto 6 is doing it. Which, if you remember, GTA 6 confirmed there will not be a physical
So you have to
disc
like
for Rockstar's
ask them
next
for a
mega
physical
game.
disc. That's
Instead,
stupid.
If you bought it physically, you will get a plastic case, but a digital code instead.
That's
to
so
redeem
stupid.
on the
Come on,
PlayStation
man.
Store.
Really?
That's exactly what Sony plans to do going forward. So essentially, you'll be paying for a plastic container holding a digital code that can be redeemed once and then never again. And then you can just put the case on your shelf, which has no
Goodbye.
physical disc inside. This is not a solution, in my opinion. In all honesty, it feels condescending.
Imagine
and
trying to
pathetic, really more
measure
than anything
with
else.
someone
they
else.
want to treat the plastic covers.
Say, hang on. Imagine I could imagine that. No, that'd be really funny. Or like moving something ever so slightly so it looks correct, but it isn't.
As if they're
You're
collector
just trolling
items,
people.
I guess, but there's no incentive to actually then owning the thing physically. Because all you're really owning is the plastic case. The game won't be in there anyway, so this solves nothing. The only way they could remedy this is if the physical version of the game came with exclusive things like a manual, maybe
Really, like the only way they could fix this, or rather the only way that we can fix this, is just by not buying games. Like, I hate to say it. Actually, I do. I'm not loath to say it. I love to say it. Just stop buying games. Just start pirating everything when they do this. Like, if they really want to be anti-consumer, okay, well then I'm going to be anti-corporation. Like, fuck you. I'm not going to fucking deal with these practices. I'm going to go full scorched earth on this because I don't want to live in that world. I'm just going to skip ahead the next decade of abuses and usurpations and just say, I'm going to pirate it. Don't care. Do not fucking care. And in the most part, probably not going to play it. I'm not. Indie games kind of get a pass for this because they're indie games. They don't have the apparatus to be able to pass out discs. They don't have the apparatus to pass out physical copies. And I trust indie developers a whole hell of a lot more than AAA developers to make sure that their product is maintained. Fuck them. It would actually be quite fun playing with 4 people on a single artillery piece. Too many chefs in the kitchen style. I could see that. I could see that being a whole host of fun, especially because like you could then add like new mechanics, like somebody's got to move it, somebody's got to be on station, somebody's got to do one thing, and have like a time mechanic as well, where you have to do it in a certain amount of time. So one person has to do one station, one person has to do the other station. It'd be interesting.
Or something else. But in all honesty, what's even the point then if the game is not even in the case for you to hold on your shelf? You don't really own it then anyways. You're just paying for extra steps towards the same outcome at that point. It's pretty much pointless. You want to know what else is really pointless, by the way? PSN requirements. You see, this is from Eurogamer and this is so stupid. So Sony's next live service game is Marvel Token. It's a fighting game with Marvel.
I don't think that this game is going to do well. I really don't. Not because it's a bad game, because I don't know. I've never played the game, but I just don't think the audience is there.
Characters that's coming out.
Could be it for you.
Anyways,
no worries. Have a great one.
132
Happy to see you coming around.
By thousands of players.
Oh, and be on the lookout. I'll post some of those pictures from my vacation.
Because of this. So why is this happening? Why is it relevant to all of this? Well, because those 132 countries, by the way, do not have access to the PlayStation Network sign-in requirements. Weirdly, though, Marvel Token can still be bought on Steam right now by players whose IP addresses are linked to any of those 132 countries that cannot legally access the game. You remember when Helldivers 2 was not available?
I remember when Helldivers 2 wasn't available. I remember when everybody shit bricks about it. Rightfully and justifiably so.
PSN sign-in problems, and how much of a backlash was caused that it got to a point where Sony had to remove the PSN sign-in requirement so that people could actually play the game. This same issue hurt games like God of War on Steam as well. Yet Sony, again, has not learned their lesson here at all, because it happened again somehow. So in Marvel Token's place, if you live in a country where PSN isn't available, you can't even play this game even if you wanted to.
And that's why people hate this stuff, because it's like if you buy the game and you just can't play it because of the way that the digital copies are working. It's just like, come on, this is ridiculous. If you have the physical copy for it, you should be able to play it. If you bought something with your money, you should be able to access whatever it is that you bought. This is ridiculous. I cannot wait until the federal courts or some type of court take this case, because they are going to lose so catastrophically. It's going to be cathartic to watch.
Want to hear something even more stupid really surrounding digital ownership and this Marvel game that proves why this is all moronic? Here's one user who said this as seen here. Marvel tokens assumingly going to be a main stage game at EVO for the 2027 circuit, and you cannot legally obtain the game in Morocco, one of the countries hosting EVO next year. That sure is a decision that Sony made. Like, what are we doing? Like, seriously, what is going on at this point? Explain this to me like I'm 5 years old, because you're going to be hosting a public tournament for...
All right. I'm going to explain it to you like you're 5 years old. They want money, and they think they can get more money if they do this, but they can't get more money because they're stupid.
Marvel Token, your new fighting live service game in Morocco. But the people in that country that will come to your tournament can't play your game legally because you won't let them, because they need to sign up for PSN in order to do so. Dear Sony, if anyone here is watching this video, can you guys please get your heads out of your own cheeks before you
they
give
never
yourselves
will.
pink eye? This forced PSN ID nonsense is stupid. It should not be needed for Steam games. They are not a platform that you own. Valve does. You should be making your live service games like this Marvel Token one as broadly accessible as possible to ensure that your game doesn't do poorly and then goes offline. Like, I don't know, Concord, for example.
I honestly think that really, in order to protest this, everybody should just pirate the game. Like, yeah, I know it's probably a shitty thing and you definitely don't want them to be like harmed, or rather their company to be adversely impacted by it, but fuck them. At this point, fuck them. They want to treat you like garbage. Okay, you really want to start that fight? We're gonna see who really needs who in the grand scheme of things. And the dirty little secret is you need me a lot more than I need you.
And I swear to God, if this Marvel Token game bombs and Sony pulls it offline when it wasn't available in 132 countries at launch, this will go down as one of the most self-inflicted wounds I've seen in a hot minute. But this is what I'm talking about, right? The industry can run damage control all they want. Everything I am presenting today, guys, come on, let me know in the comments. Am I crazy? Or is this some of the dumbest things you've heard in a minute?
No, this is the dumbest shit.
I'm not alone in reading these things and coming constantly back to the conclusion that all of this is self-inflicted and none of this needed to happen. But according to industry analysts, all of this is happening so that Sony can make the PS6 cheaper, as Eurogamer reported here.
Wow.
As one analyst said who was interviewed, as you can see, they're amazed that Sony is not allowing for the PS6 to, at least, have an installable physical disc drive. That's like the bare minimum at this point. Okay, sure, fine. The PS6 won't launch with a disc drive. I mean, the PS5 had this as an option at launch. Even the PS5 Pro had no disc drive unless you...
Aren't they adding, like, you said at the beginning of the thing, like, you have to purchase a disc drive with it, right? Like, it's just ridiculous.
Paid for it, like I showed earlier,
Holy
which
fuck,
many are doing, but foregoing it all together, that seems like a terrible idea. According to Ampere analysts, as I highlighted, this is all being done to reduce the price of the PS6, and they believe that it's an easy win in their eyes in the long run, which is definitely a take. I'll give them.
Yeah, that's a take of all time, that's for damn sure.
Not what I would say, but all right. Alania Analytics, as seen here, believes that Grand Theft Auto 6 and Rockstar are what led to Sony pushing for this future. If you believe the rumors, GTA 6 has apparently already secured millions of copies sold in pre-orders already on PSN, all digital, of course. And Sony likely looked at this and realized, oh, they could do the same with their own games, and that this news was...
Eventually, the industry will fail, and they will wonder why we got here.
Masquerading as bad news pretty much happened in order to then get
eventually
lost in the
they
noise,
will,
which is typical company nonsense.
And you can see it happening in slow motion.
Here,
they just choose not to believe you.
Believe everyone from Xbox to Nintendo even will be following in Sony's footsteps. However, in my opinion, I don't think Nintendo will be doing that. Nintendo knows that a big part of their business is physical media, and I don't just mean the games in the cases,
I can see that.
but goods in general. For example,
for all my problems with Nintendo, they do make some good choices occasionally
solely to their IP, where families and fans can travel to in order to experience their IPs firsthand. For example, you have Super Nintendo World, which is located in Osaka, California, and Florida at the Universal Studios amusement parks, if you didn't know.
That'd be pretty
in
cool
these
to go
locations,
to.
people can go enjoy and buy Nintendo-related products that are physical. Toys, keychains, even like eat food that is Nintendo-themed, like Pokemon-centric meals and drinks too.
That's
I think
pretty
a big
cool.
reason why Nintendo is able to succeed in this way is pretty simple, because they have games that people connect to in a way that feels, I guess for lack of a better word, retro in a sense. Plus, you have to remember,
I mean, I guess I could kind of see that. Like, sure, you can meme on them for making bad quality games all you want, because there are some games that, you know, obviously look at the new Pokemon game. There was like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, dude, come on. But like a lot of their other games, like I know that like Legend of Zelda was really good and people really liked it. Thank God there's at least still something kicking at Nintendo.
a big driving force of Nintendo products is, of course, kids playing their games all of the time. Pokemon alone would be absolutely stupid to remove physical game releases from store shelves either now or in the future, because you would be losing out on so much money from those kids walking past the stores in these malls or wherever they are with their mom and dad and seeing that bright, shiny new Pokemon game that they want to play.
This is definitely
so
a different
badly,
direction to take this argument.
at the very least, to never.
I don't even know if this argument that that we're coming up with here is like even necessary. I think the strongest argument is you are causing more people to be pirates by taking this away from people. Taking physical media away is just another straw that is breaking the consumer public's trust in your cartel. Because that's like the best way of putting it, because it really is like a game seller's cartel right now. They're all utilizing each other to hike up the prices of things. And once somebody does it, it all goes up. They're at least in a way communicating behind the scenes with one another in order to coordinate things. And they're making practices that are incredibly anti-consumer because there are no alternatives to the actual practices or to the actual AAA games industry. Yeah, you have indie games, but they definitely don't replace big company games. So the best argument, regardless of any other argument, is you're just going to make people pirate your games and the industry is going to collapse. You're creating your own collapse. Please stop doing that.
Abandon the concept of physical, because it is literally tied to how people view and perceive their IPs in the world. If someone buys a Pokemon game and has the cartridge inside, they're gonna then go buy a Pikachu plushie or Super Mario hat or
I don't know. I don't know if I
what
agree with that.
There's brand recognition.
It's
there
like,
that
sure,
matters,
maybe
and Nintendo smartfully knows this because they will also sell Joy-Cons that are different colors or even themes, which people will just buy as collector items even. And if they buy those in stores, well, they might just buy a new game to try those Joy-Cons on too, right? It all circles in on itself and makes sense in the long run. Plus, objectively speaking, every Nintendo first-party game right now on the Switch 2 is on the actual cartridge when you buy it. You can just plug it in and play. You're good to go. So personally, I don't see Nintendo following suit. There's a reason why even when Nintendo did introduce...
It's definitely nice to be able to just plug it in, not have to worry about an internet connection, and you're ready to go. Like, that's the other thing too. It's just like with the Switch 2, I think as a practical limitation, Switch and Switch 2, so Switch 2 as well. As a practical limitation, you might be taking your Switch into a place that has no internet access. You want to know what? You kind of need to have a physical, like on whatever cartridge disc that you have in order to play the game. So I think that they're limited by that aspect, and in that limitation, they're only proving more why we need physical copies.
Cards where the cartridge,
you can't guarantee that somebody who's buying the game is going to be able to access the internet.
They never actually did that themselves when it came to their own games, and we know why. Because as Screen Rant showed here in 2025, when Nintendo opted for this digital code in box,
Switch 2 third-party games are flopping, but there's more than one explanation why.
Version of selling games. Those third-party games that did this, they flopped horribly, and it made sense why. Because no one was willing to buy these these games because they didn't own it. And Nintendo
Imagine.
learned the hard way during their launch that these sorts of games did not sell the way.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm just not excited for Kingdom Hearts 4. Like, Kingdom Hearts 3 did not charm me. I did not like Kingdom Hearts 3, and I did not like the direction in which, like, how it felt to play. It didn't feel like I was playing a Kingdom Hearts game because of the way they switched engines. I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take. I didn't like it. I thought it was not good. The story, I don't know. It was a Kingdom Hearts story, but I think the gameplay more or less soured me on the game, and that's kind of what's looking like Kingdom Hearts 4.
They intended them to on Switch 2 because people
Could be wrong.
knew they didn't own them. But
I really hated the I don't use the word hated lightly, but I really hated the Disney theme rides mechanic. I thought they interrupted the gameplay, and they made it so that I never used them. I chose not to use them because they were fucking dumb.
what did
I'm
end up
sorry, they
selling?
were dumb.
All right, they're first party games like Mario or Zelda, which even if, God forbid, your Switch 2 got stolen or broken or something, your cartridges would still exist. Your save data would still be on there. The game is still yours when you buy it. That's the point. This is why circling this all the way back to Sony, that this entire thing, in my opinion, is going to blow up in their faces. They are severely underestimating just how much people actually care about owning their games, and they are going to have a very rude awakening when they realize that people are not going to go the way they have anticipated them to do. I think a lot of games are going to flop out of the gate, not because they're bad games, but because Sony's
it's because of their bad business practices
is going to cause a lot of people to just
like, that's the one thing that I'm a big proponent of. I know I'm pausing a lot, but I want to pause to make another point here. You should never let them forget the way they treated you. And by that, I mean, if a company treats you like dog shit, just like I was saying with Destiny and Marathon, you should never let them forget how they treated you. You should take every chance and opportunity that you can in order to ignore, or rather, I would say, not bend to what they want you to do until they come back to doing what you want them to do. You shouldn't buy from them. You should not buy microtransactions from them. You should not reward them for their shitty behavior. And if you really wanted to play the game, you should take every means of your power in order to play the game as around interacting with them as you possibly can, including but not limited to piracy. Do not allow them to get you into the mentality of, oh, well, I don't like the fact that they did this, but I'm going to buy and play the game anyway. Never do that. It takes a very strong person. Even I at times fail at that. It takes a remarkably strong person to actually adhere to that mentality, but you should, in almost all cases, try to adhere to that mentality. I refuse to allow people to take advantage of me. I won't allow it. I can't.
Opt out and buy when these games are at the very least in deep sales. Because if you buying means you aren't owning it, then there's no point really, is there? Nintendo understood this when putting their Switch 2 games on the cartridge at least, because there is a brand loyalty and an identity to owning these.
Oh, this is that game from Game Freak, isn't it?
I own them physically. The same way I do my PS5 games and the like.
I was wondering what game that was.
This is a catastrophic move by Sony, and the sooner they realize, the better they're going to be for it, because none of this is okay. All of this is a mess that never needed to happen, and they can still fix it if they listen to the fans. Otherwise, when the next game fails or their brand recognition goes down the toilet because no one associates PlayStation with physical media or things that they can actually own, then playing on their platform or identifying with them will be pointless, and Sony needs to ensure that they fix this. And if they do go digital, then they need to embrace what Valve is doing to a T. Better customer service, way better refund policies, and allowing for actual digital
They're not going to do that. They can't do it.
PSN codes at competitive prices too. Otherwise, this is a monopoly that does nothing but hurt the paying customer. And for what? So they can save money on physical discs? This is why there is a Super Nintendo world and not a Super PlayStation world. How can people connect with Sony and their games and their IPs when they are doing everything they can to be as unreachable as possible? It's a mistake, but what do you think? Let me know. Subscribe if you want to. But it's
I just can't believe that we've allowed as a community to get to this
guys.
point.
Seriously, Nintendo shows you guys that it can work. So why would you do this? And these websites that are running defense, it's just laughable. We really do live in the stupidest timeline.
We do.
We
do. Oh my god. If you would have told somebody about this from like years ago, they'd be laughing you out of the room. Man, I hate the fact that, again, I'm going to keep saying it, that we've allowed ourselves to be taken advantage of by corpos that decided you don't need to own anything. It really makes me Anyway, with that beautiful note, I'm going to go ahead and end stream. I'm tired. My vacation is still catching up to me. And tomorrow we're going to wake up refreshed and we're going to rage at Elden Ring, because that's what the good Lord put me on the earth to do, and we're just going to go ahead and do it. I hope everybody had a wonderful night. We have a vote in the Discord right now for the next game that we're going to be playing on our Indie Games Thursday. There's some really good ones in there. I'm actually super excited. I hope that we have, I hope that people are looking at that going, ooh, yes, I'm excited for that. So hopefully we'll see you all then. And on Friday, we'll have our normal community games. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.